Gentlemen, the weather outside today has been wet and god-awful.
Indeed.
We know when the weather wasn't wet and god-awful?
Yesterday or 2 days ago or something?
This past weekend, let me tell you.
Literally
fellas.
yesterday.
It was like 20 degrees yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was great.
So this past weekend, let me tell you, fellas. Did everybody have a good time?
I had a great time.
I had a euphoric time.
I made some money.
I lost some money.
Yes, you did. So for the viewers at home, this past weekend we did my very belated 24th champagne birthday celebration down in Niagara Falls at Falls View Casino. We went and did some gambling, and we went and got dinner. I just figured real quick for the cold open we would just regale. The what now?
No, why would we?
Niagara Falls? No,
Niagara
that's
Falls,
okay.
come on.
Malcolm, is your mic on? Go ahead and pop that bitch on.
No.
There we go. Yeah, it's fine. Niagara
He wasn't
Falls.
saying anything anyway.
Okay, what do you guys?
How was everyone's weekend?
I know the answer already, but try and be not biased, okay?
Yeah.
What do you guys prefer, blackjack or poker?
Blackjack.
What do you mean? Prefer in what way?
Just like in funness.
In funness?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a word. Is funness a word?
In enjoyment.
Let me say it this way: when I win in poker, that shit's crazy.
Mm.
But blackjack is I think it's just more fulfilling because it's just easy wins and they're quick. It's just a quick game, just two cards.
Matthew, do you have the same experience as Malcolm?
Well, I lost $100 all told for the day.
I'm talking about blackjack
take.
specifically.
No, blackjack, I didn't have that experience. I like poker as a game better because there's way more to it.
Okay.
Especially against other people. Blackjack is definitely easier, and like it is that more rapid fire, like quick kind of thing.
Yeah. I think I played a couple of games, which is like two hands of poker, and I don't know. To me, it's like I like playing poker with you guys, but like against the house, I feel like it's not as fun.
Okay.
It feels more like a solo game.
I would rather be in like a tournament.
Sure. With
Playing against other people.
That would be interesting because then
And,
there's
like,
the element of like trying to like bluff and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's more to it. Whereas when you're playing against the house, it's kind of like
it's a bit
just sort of you and like this
Sure.
entity.
It's almost like you're in a like when like during COVID there was like classes online on Zoom. It was kind of like you're doing the same activity kind of, but it just feels not correct.
It's like
It feels
playing a
weird.
multiplayer. It's like if you were playing Overwatch against like the computer.
by yourself. Yeah, that's right.
Like
yeah.
it's not against other people. Like if it was against the fucking NPCs.
And for that reason, I liked blackjack more because I felt like it was just kind of like because it's quicker and because it was just like so much excitement when you win. That one was fun to me. I want to keep doing that.
I'd like to jump in.
I want to do that for a long time.
I want to jump in here real quick.
Sure.
So gambling is a slippery slope.
It is quite
and it can lead to some horrible, debilitating outcomes.
Life ending.
It's very addicting. We all just went to the casino some of us for the first time.
That was my first time.
That was
going
my first
over
time
there.
ever stepping into a casino.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
why I wanted to do it because I was like, I wanted to do some, a little swanky for the 24th.
Was that your first time, Patrick?
And just my first time in a real casino. I don't think the one in the cruise counts.
Okay, so that was our first time. All
That was,
of us in a
that was
casino.
our first time in a casino. It could be really addicting. And just to highlight that point, I want you guys to guess what Malcolm was doing on my couch today.
Wow.
He was-
On his phone.
I wasn't here and I didn't hear about it,
Yeah.
but I know that he was playing like online blackjack.
Yes.
He was betting a couple bucks here or there.
He wasn't using real money though.
No real money?
No real money.
I've done that too, where there's like the World the World Poker Tour thing.
The World Porn Organization.
Will John Poker.
They
WPO.
have like poker online that you can play against other people, but it's all like fake money.
Yeah.
So I've definitely done that.
But you
like,
can do it with real money. Like my
you
friend,
can gamble online with real money.
my
yeah.
friend at work just pulled up like an app and it had like it looked like I don't like your PlayStation home screen. There's like a bunch of different grids.
Yeah.
It was just like literally like a bunch. He scrolled. It was like poker, blackjack, whatever. He just clicked blackjack, and then it was like a live video of some like actual dealer. And then he like put $3 on it. He lost and he just closed it.
Yo, what's that game that we used to play?
What game?
You know-
Oh, Four Kings Casino.
Four
and
Kings
Slots.
Casino and
That game was
Slots.
fun as hell.
On
Wait, was that the PlayStation, right?
Dude,
Where we all had our
honestly,
avatars?
If we want to fucking like train for the
Train.
casino, if you want to get some like skills going, we gotta like try to get better at poker. Just like we play Four Kings.
I'll do it.
I mean,
Well, I'm glad. The one thing I am
We
glad
should
about,
do that.
and I think it was Malcolm that said it, is Malcolm finally being open, because I've been trying to knock this door open for fucking like forever with
Open
you
to being-
guys.
a gambler.
And you just haven't let me in. But the idea of like us playing poker ourselves against each other,
too much work, bro.
but like gambling
Too much work.
and betting
What are you talking about?
and shit.
I'm very much against that.
Oh, I want to do it so
Dude,
bad.
somewhat. like we get mad at each other playing like a video game. If there's like $10 on the line and you're doing that like every once in a while, like I'm gonna be like pissed that I'm losing money.
But
against,
it's such a
against
like
you guys.
But it's such a menial amount of money that
I know.
I feel like if we did once a month,
yeah,
like a $5,
Once a
$10
month.
tournament,
$5 a month.
That's too much.
It's like a
$5 a month is too much.
Imagine losing every time.
Well,
yeah. So you
I don't plan
that's
on
like,
losing
what
every time.
$60 a year if you lose for a full year.
There
But
you
I
go.
also think that when you're at the casino, you're losing against like this like faceless organization. You're just like, oh fucking casino.
Honestly,
like,
sorry to jump in. My bad.
yeah,
I
yeah.
also have
Yeah, I was
something,
actually in
but
the middle of
after you.
talking. But
So
it's
sorry.
okay.
Okay. So,
No,
go
fuck
ahead.
me.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
my track record with us four is really good. So actually, I'm open.
You're
to
talking about like
Here's the
against
thing,
us.
though.
against you guys. Yeah.
I think we haven't
It's really
played for
good.
like quite a long time.
I know, but from my memory, it's
From
very,
memory of-
very
of a
good.
year plus?
But
It's
here's-
really, really
here's
good.
the other idea that just popped in my
It's
head. Now,
really,
this
really
requires a certain amount of patience and planning. But imagine we went like, let's say 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And for those 6 months, we didn't play. We could play poker, but not for money. But once a month for those 6
we
months.
put aside $5.
We each put aside $5 into like a little pot,
Oh,
and then at the
no.
end of the 6 months, whatever it would be, what $20 a month. So what's 20 by 6? 120.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be like $120 waiting at the end of those 6 months, and that's what we would play for.
Wait, $5 a month for 6 months. That would only be $30.
But for each of us,
per,
though.
per person. Oh, you're
Per
saying
person.
30 times.
Like if
four,
the four
yeah.
of us put in $5 a month,
Yeah, 30 times.
We got
four,
it.
like a little
We got
box
it. We got it.
for
We got
6
it.
months.
Yeah, skip all that.
And
We
then
got it. You skip
did
all that.
the
Yeah, yeah.
tournament,
Yeah.
and then we did like a poker game at the end of the 6 months. That was like, hey, the money we've been pooling for this 6 months
Yeah.
is on the line right
like
now.
That would make the anger even
my
worse,
God.
bro.
'Cause then it would
The hell?
be,
The
well, it wouldn't
anticipation
be
up to
so
that?
much. I wouldn't be so much angry because if it's $5 for 6 months, is what $30.
Can I just say, you lined up your beard a little bit.
I did. I cleaned it up.
He did
I
it
trimmed
on his
up
birthday,
here.
actually.
Yes, I did. I
Yeah.
trimmed it up here a bit. It's looking sharp.
I was meaning to comment on that because there's this one thing we were
You didn't
talking.
do it on his birthday.
We were on his birthday. We did, and I noticed it because
noticed that.
Yeah,
because
weekend, not my birthday the day, but this past weekend when we were in Niagara.
You know how I knew, because when you were telling the story about the Dewey's girlfriend's sister
Oh, yeah.
and the black guy,
I was laughing.
he laughed so hard that he was like
Yeah,
going
yeah.
back in his seat that I noticed.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you
No,
tell that
it
story?
looks a lot better for sure.
Well,
What?
thank you. But
Should we tell that story here or no?
I think I might have done it here before.
I
we
also
done it
feel
yet?
like you got the stash and the chin going.
it's
got like a
going.
Everyone
partial
got something
goatee
going but
almost.
Patrick now.
I know.
I'm
You
getting.
could do it. I don't know if you'd ever do a full beard, but you
can't.
could do what Mark's got.
I've seen.
I can definitely do this only.
No, I think you could if you let your chin go
This
enough.
guy go too?
Yeah, because even right now
Let
you've
him
got
loose.
chin scruff.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But
mean,
yeah, like so I just want to do like I just want to play poker with you guys, but do it where it is like something's on the line of like, you know, we've each put $5 in like just for one game, so it is like a $20 is up for grabs or something like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think
I'm,
that
I'm
would be a
open.
lot
I'm
of
open
fun.
to doing that.
Or
It's
even just do like toonies or some shit. It's like $8 is on the line or whatever.
Mm.
But
I think we should just go to the other casino that we.
Mohawk?
yes, we're gonna have to go to Mohawk
Yeah.
at some point and maybe do some horse
Dude,
betting and some other stuff and
I kn-
see how that goes.
Yeah, I know it's not supposed to be as nice, but like, oh, we just need a blackjack table. That's all I want.
Blackjack, little roulette
That's all I
going.
Maybe a little roulette.
I
'Cause
was
do like
watching-
the roulette too.
For whatever they're listening to us. First of all, they're listening to us because I hold on, wait. I just
Who's listening?
You mean
I'm
the
gonna
government?
reset.
What are you schizophrenic?
I need to
He's
reset.
talking about- he's talking about
I'm
they're
schizophrenic
listening
all of a
to us.
sudden.
They're
I need to
listening
reset.
to us.
They're listening
Like
to us.
there's
We gotta
bugs
stop.
under my skin.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna go one premise at a time.
Okay.
So for
He just goes.
okay, so this guy who, and I've mentioned this before to Malcolm, this guy who's banned from almost every casino in the world keeps popping up on my phone, and I think it's for the reason because
Which-
they are
which-
listening to us,
which
the
guy?
government, huh?
Which guy?
So I don't know what his name is, but he's this guy that plays baccarat, or so or he used to play
Interesting.
baccarat,
Okay.
right? And he has all these tattoos all over him, and he was talking about how the low buy-ins or the minimum
Matty.
bets are deadly. He was talking about how the minimum bets are deadly because as time progresses, he's saying your odds get worse and worse and worse, like the odds of you compounding like win after win. That doesn't actually make sense when I say it out loud.
Doesn't
But
sound-
anyways,
Yeah.
what his whole point was, if you can like bet 700,000, it's so stupid saying it out loud. He's like, in 2 turns, you got millions.
All right.
So they don't want you betting high because like there's like
They could potentially lose a
they
lot.
could potentially
Well,
lose a
that's
lot.
not
yeah.
exactly the same, but that's the thing that my dad tells me, like, when I started doing the sports betting, where he was like, you know, on the sports betting thing, when I'm betting, if I'm betting on, like, the winner in an NHL game, I'll pick the underdog and then put like $5 on them. Because if I'm right, I get like, let's say 20, 30 back. And if I had bet on the favorite with $5, I get like, 7 back. So I'm only making $2. But my dad's whole point was like, yeah, but if you're somebody who has money, if you put
500.
$5,000 on the favorite, and then it's the same odds, so you're getting $7,000 back. Yeah, if you had bet on the underdog and they won, it would have been, $30,000. But you bet on the favorite and you just made $2,000 for doing absolutely nothing. And that $5,000, if you had somehow lost it, is so inconsequential that it doesn't matter. But you made the $2,000.
Wouldn't the $2,000 also be very inconsequential?
I feel like, but also
to some extent, yes. But it's like it's basically you're guaranteeing yourself money by putting so much in. You're guaranteeing a chunk.
I feel like if you don't give a shit about the 5, you might as well go for the 30. If you don't care about losing the 5,
this
you
is
might
true.
as well.
I don't know.
I like what he's saying better than what you're saying.
Put it this way: what I'm saying is, if I was gonna get crazy and do like $50 on like an NHL game or something like that, I mean, the playoffs are coming up, so let's see
the
what happens.
playoffs are coming.
I can't
up, baby.
wait. It sounds like we're gonna be playing Florida, which we'll see how that
The
goes.
Panthers?
Wait,
Yeah.
Panthers? Okay,
Yeah.
That's.
I mean,
more
anybody
manageable
fucking,
than Lightning.
anybody
We faced
but
them last
fucking
time, no?
Boston.
We lost them last
We
time.
faced
we
Lightning.
faced
Last
the
year we
Panthers?
beat Tampa and then lost to stupid Florida. But Florida wasn't even that fucking
we
We
lost
good.
the
beat
Panthers.
Tampa last time.
Yeah.
and then we lost to the Panthers.
Yes.
But Florida wasn't even that fucking good last year. We just stunk. But as long as it's not Boston, because the Leafs have a curse with Boston, anybody but Boston. But like that would be a thing where I would maybe put $50 on like a favorite
I
to
don't know.
make like 75 instead of risking 50 and getting like 100.
I don't know. I don't know why I remember this, but the Boston Bruins are Nick Cabral's favorite
They
hockey
are.
team.
I don't know. You're so right about that. I don't know why I remember that either, but it's burned.
I don't know why I also
Didn't
remember that.
Kevin
Shout out Nick Cabral. That was his
Kevin
whole
like them
identity
too?
for
Kevin Burball?
Kevin.
He was a big
Burb-
Bruins
oh,
guy.
he was a
Oh,
big
yeah. I
Bruins
think I
guy,
remember
too.
that. Yeah.
Shout out Kevin and Nick.
Him and Nick,
We
they
just used their
bonded
whole
on that
Govey.
fact.
There you go. But yeah, so I'm glad you guys had a good weekend. Really quick, dinner.
Oh,
Okay,
dinner.
so I have the not unpopular opinion, but the unpopular opinion that I thought the restaurant was immaculate. Like my main. Yeah, see, I have the
That's,
unpopular opinion.
that's just an interesting
That
word. to
word,
use.
Patrick?
It was absolutely
Okay.
divine.
When you're calling a restaurant immaculate, you're talking about the setting, like the environment that you're in, the food, the service. Like it wasn't an immaculate restaurant.
my main was immaculate.
Your food was immaculate.
My food was immaculate.
The way it
That's
looked,
fair.
I don't believe it for a second.
Say again.
It looked identical to mine, except there was seafood on there as well.
It looked identical to yours.
Yeah, except there was seafood on there.
Okay.
I think you're being
What's
a
your
bit.
point?
I mean, I don't know. Obviously, like this is subjective. Like taste is subjective. But to me, it was really good. I enjoyed my food. I didn't have any problems with it. I didn't think it was like subpar at all. It was great. I just feel like immaculate's a bit hyperbolic for me.
Well, I mean, you didn't have my dish, right?
No, but I tried a little bit of Malcolm's, and I
You
tried.
didn't have my dish.
No, but he had some of the parts. He had some of the parts of your dish.
He had some of the parts of my dish, but I'm very.
The rice-
So you didn't like the rice?
The rice
The
was
rice was
good.
okay.
The
The rice was great.
Good.
The rice was
the
great.
tzatziki sauce was terrible.
The what?
The what?
Tzatziki sauce.
The
Tzatziki sauce?
tzatziki?
The what?
Tzatziki,
Did
yeah.
it have like a green tint?
Yeah.
That was great. Go on.
It was not. It was bland.
It was
What do you
really
mean? It was
good.
great. It was bland. There was no flavor.
I
in it.
like that sauce. Go on.
Okay, that's crazy because that's not how it's supposed to taste. Second of all, the potato they gave me, I don't know about anyone else,
It's cold.
completely fucking dry.
I
The
see.
potato was the one because I got the steak and then rice and the big like potato hunk because Varsh got it too. That was the only
What did she
thing-
think of it? What did you think
Varsh
of the
liked
restaurant?
it. She just because she got the chicken souvlaki or whatever, and she's like, "Oh yeah, it was really good." She's
I think
like,
you're adding an L before that. You should.
I
have.
think I just,
Slovaki?
yeah. I added it
Slovaki.
as soon as it left
Slovenian.
as soon as it left my mouth. I was like, "Did I do a good enough job saying it that nobody's gonna notice?"
Did you mask it good enough?
Yeah, I was like, "Did I hide
I
it?"
was gonna let it go, and I was like, I'm gonna be quiet.
The chicken souvlaki. Said it wrong again.
Suvalki.
Fucking Greek.
Souvlaki.
Suvalki.
Fucking
Souvlaki.
fucking Greek.
Souvlak.
It was good too. Or she said it was good.
Yeah.
Her and I liked it. You know what it was with the potato? It's that the outside, like the skin,
It
was
looked
like
so
crispy
yummy.
and really nice. But then the inside was almost not like raw potato, obviously, but it was mostly just like white potato with not a lot going on inside.
Yeah.
I'm kind of spoiled too because my mom is sort of the potato queen with like
She's not
roasted
Irish.
potatoes and shit. She's not, but she does fucking
So
immaculate
she
potatoes.
has no birthright to that name.
But no, I really liked it. We went to the Casbah Mediterranean. If anybody wants to if you're ever in Niagara Falls.
You want to
Chuzba,
go
if
to
you're
the number
nasty.
6 group spot in Niagara Falls?
But like I said, number 2 was the Mandarin. So it's like where we
What?
were was better than the
That's
Mandarin.
crazy.
Honestly,
The
Mandarin
I would have
would've-
loved
would've slapped,
Mandarin.
bro.
I would have made a plate with just like pizza and shrimp. And
Mandarin
random
would have
shit.
slapped.
Tony,
Picked the fuck
Tony
out.
didn't come, but Tony had said to me, he's like, "Oh, you guys gonna go eat at Copacabana?" And I was like, "No, because like it's all like it's a lot of like beef and like heavy meat stuff. That
Why
I
didn't
know
we eat
Varsh,
at Copacabana?
I know
Varsh is
Varsh wouldn't have
They
been
have
into
chicken.
it.
They have
expensive, though.
shrimp.
I
they have-
know, but to go spend $100 a person for Varsh to only eat like every other item that comes to the table, I was like, it's just not worth it.
Sit outside.
Don't worry though. The four of us, and I'm sure Pablo and Tony and them will want to come. We'll do a Copacabana
Also,
soon.
I
'cause
need
have
to
a
know
hankering.
when we're gonna go to Barbarians for real.
Ah! We will also. I heard the like fucking metal in the mic like reverberate when I did that. Yes, we definitely. Was I talking to you clowns today saying that we need to do a
No, you weren't.
Toronto Day?
No,
Yeah,
oh yeah, you
yeah.
were talking to him.
Yeah, I was talking to Malcolm saying like we should be doing it. We should do a
Go
Toronto Day.
downtown
Listen,
to
I'm
the
down- I'm
dirty
down to-
Chinese city and get some food.
I'm down to do.
Wow.
I'm down to do.
Is
I'm
what he said.
interesting. I'm down to do a little bit of betting and then make some money for Barbarians.
I love how we're just incorporating that into our daily lives
gonna gamble
now.
all
So we're
the
gonna go to
time.
Mohawk the night before, and then the day after.
You know, I was
we're
talking to
gonna
my
go
boss
Barbarians.
about this, and he was saying like, I mean, this is kind of like somewhat off topic, but he was talking about how like that like machine that spits out the cards that they feed shit into. He said like a lot of big casinos like in Vegas or something, they'll have like 6 to 8 decks in there, which is supposed to be to prevent card counting and people kind of keeping track of what's going
Interesting.
on.
See, when
sort
we
of
were
shit.
playing blackjack, Eric was saying it to me where he's like, I don't know, Matt. I don't know if I trust the card games here because it's in the machine and I feel like
Yeah.
they're like keeping track
Oh,
of
I
shit.
feel like that.
But
too.
the way
I don't think they're
but
keeping track of it,
Eric
but they're
was
randomizing
describing it to me, and I saw like poker or something. One of the games we had done where I saw the machine sitting on the table, or it was the very first blackjack game we did, where we fucking lost like $50 right away.
75.
There you go. But when I was doing that, I thought it was a thing where the machine was like, there was like some tube coming up from the floor that it was plugged into. But the blackjack table that you guys
Just
won our
shove it
money
in.
at, where we were playing at, then I saw, I was like, no, the guy's only using one deck and just throws it back into the machine over and over again, and it shuffles it. So
We were
technically,
hot. We were
at
hot.
Fallsview, for example, because as soon as I realized that, not that I know how to fucking count cards properly, but I was starting to keep track of like, okay, there's a 10, Jack, Queen, King. So there's 4 10s across 4 things. So there's 12. So like I started trying to do the mental math of like, okay, well, Mark just got one, Malcolm just got one, Patrick just got one, Eric just got one. Like, am I now going to get one of those 12, even though like 4 have like a quarter of them have just gone, or a third or whatever the fuck have just gone
Yeah, that makes sense. I
taken
think he's
kind of
saying-
thing?
You're saying like for each face, like for like King of Hearts, King of Diamonds, King of like trying to see how many 10 value cards there are. I don't know. Is it 12? I don't know if it's 12, but I don't know.
There's 4
Huh?
cards, or no, it is 16 because it's 4 cards
there's more than
worth
that.
10
I think there's more than that.
across 4
Jack,
hands.
Queen.
It's
Wait.
10 Jack, Queen, King,
It's 16,
and then
there's
it's
Yeah, you're right.
10.
16.
heart, spade, diamond, and
Yeah, so it is
So
six
you were
clubs.
counting cards?
not like how a professional would, but I was trying to like keep up with it. Of like,
That's
how many of the
against the
16?
rules.
I mean, it's against the fucking rules.
It's
It's,
in,
the
it, in
numbers.
his, it's in his head.
It's in my head, and it's the
No
number.
thinking.
Literally, the
That's
reason why,
against
like,
the
the
rules.
reason why
Yeah.
poker people, like, when my dad watches fucking like the World Poker Tour on TV, the reason those people are like playing in tournaments where the first place winner gets like $3 million,
They're math geniuses.
is because those are the fucking guys that, yeah, like the second the 5 cards have hit the table and they have their 2 in their hands, they are like counting the odds of like, well, this is the percent. Like, you know, when you're watching, I don't know if you ever watched poker on TV, but you know, if like 2 people are against each other.
I thought you were gonna say the Hangover one is the math popping up and all over the.
No, but like, you know, if you're watching poker on TV, they'll have a thing where it's like, you know, like if it was the 4 of us, it would be like Mark, Malcolm, Patrick, Matty, and it would be like the 2 cards we each have in our hands. And then beside that would be like, here's Malcolm's percentage of winning this hand, here's Mark's percentage, here's Patrick's, and here's Matty's. Those fucking guys do that shit like in their head,
They have the numbers in their head.
which is how they know, like, okay, right now,
They have the numbers in their head.
yes, they're like, all right, I've got like,
2.25%. They have them in their head.
they're like, I've got, you know, 2 8s right now, and there's like a third 8 on the board. So I've got 3 of a kind, but there's 2 kings on the board. And what are the odds that one of these pricks has a king? Like, they're doing all that shit in their heads, which is why they're fucking, you know, masters.
I mean,
What
honestly,
numbers do they have in their head?
Like percents and odds, and like, what are my chances of actually
To what
getting
decimal
this?
place do they have the percent?
I don't
Alright.
fucking know,
Alright,
Patrick.
He's annoying as shit, and it's bothering me.
I'm doubting it a little bit. That's why.
But it's,
So-
it's their
Why
whole
doing that?
it's their whole career, it's their whole livelihood. So they're gonna have some sort of calculation that they do of like, if I have these cards and I see these cards on the board, like what is likely left and what could they combine it with what's on the board. It's just kind of like, I don't know how the fuck it works, but I know that there's a lot of calculations.
Yeah, but
going
he's saying they have hard numbers in their head. I would I would
maybe it's
rather
like
say
a
they have
ballpark
could be a
of
range.
like, oh, this is likely, this is not
maybe
likely.
it's
I mean,
from
that-
like
that's
you know,
if you're taking- that's
24
what-
to like 27%.
Hold on, I want to hear what I want to hear.
That's if you're taking what he's saying as exactly like literal. It's exact.
I
percentage.
asked him. That's why I asked him. That's why I pressed him, and he said yes.
Yeah,
and
but-
that's why I'm saying to you, maybe it's like a
But he would have
small
said
range of a handful.
But he
of
would have
percent.
said he would have said they know to the he would have said to the exact. He didn't say that. He didn't say that to the exact percent. they
Run
know.
the tape back,
You
bro.
just asked me if I
He
knew
never
to
said-
what decimal point. I said I don't
That's
know.
the first
Dude,
time you conceded that you don't
wait,
know.
Wait. He said they do calculations and they have these numbers in their head. He didn't say they know to the exact decimal place. He didn't say that.
I just doubt that they have the numbers in their head. That's
Somebody kill this guy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Please somebody kill this
the
guy.
trip was very nice. I'll just toss out and then we can get into the show because we're running a little long
Oh,
here. The next
open.
day was very nice because Varsha and I got a hotel. We stayed for the night. And it was nice because we were able to get up the next day. We went and did like some mini golf and we did the Ferris wheel that was by there, so we got to see the falls from the Ferris wheel and shit. We went to a Haka place. For
Was it
lunch,
warm?
Which was fucking delicious. It was nice outside, nice sunny warm day. I will say though, just the two things from when her and I spent the night that were funny. At like 2 a.m, we were like, let's go get fucking ice cream, dude. And right in, you know how like when we walked into the front of the casino, it was kind of almost like a letter C or like a U-shaped thing where it like kept going both ways.
Yeah.
There were other entrances to the casino other than the main one we went through, and there was a little gelato place
Oh yeah,
right across
saw
the
it.
hall.
the cookie place.
Yeah,
Right beside
from
the
like
cookie-
where
yeah.
one of the entrances to the casino was.
It's right across
So
the
we were
cookie
just
place,
like,
yeah.
okay, we're gonna go get ice cream, and there was like tubes or like walkways from the hotel to the like that part of the casino, so we didn't have to go outside, which was nice. And we
Oh,
went and
that's
got
cool.
ice
That's
cream.
cool, yeah.
Varsh got a little strawberry thing on like a stick. I was gonna get lemon gelato, and then they had a fucking ice dog there. And it was not like stupid Dimitri's where it's like between two croissants. It was just 2 chocolate chip cookies with vanilla ice cream in the middle. It brought me back to like fucking grade 3.
sounds
was
so
good?
good
at
right now.
Element. It was fucking delicious.
Ima-
I was so mad I didn't go get another one.
Imagine how many ice dogs Demetrius would push if they used cookies and stuff.
Oh my God,
Stupid
I
ass
wouldn't-
croissants.
I
I'm with
wouldn't-
him, to be honest.
I
with you.
wouldn't
They
stop.
use croissants?
Speaking of
Yeah,
barbarians,
that's what it says on the menu.
Speaking of barbarians, the last time we were there in October for my brother's 21st, they had like an ice cream sandwich on the menu. Michael and I fucked up because we ate so much meat and then got a ice cream sandwich each. If the 4 of us went, we could probably do 2 and split them because these
How
things
big
were
are
like
they?
a dinner
Are
plate.
they like melt like fresh chocolate chip?
It's these giant chocolate chip cookies with the vanilla ice cream in the middle. But
How big?
Mike-
Wait.
like
Sorry.
it's like a fucking dinner plate. dude.
How much? Sorry.
Did it
much?
cost?
How much money? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I forget.
But was it like a gooey like soft cookie?
Yeah, like it was a soft. Yeah, it was fucking
my
delicious.
God.
So if the 4 of us went, if the 4 of us went and wanted to do that for dessert, I would say we get 2 and then split it because Michael
Yeah,
and I's
yeah, yeah,
problem
yeah,
was
yeah.
we thought they were like normal sized ones, and then they both came after well, Michael eats his meat, but after I had eaten like almost 30 ounces of meat, and I'm sitting there with this fucking thing like, I'll give it a try, and I ate like half of it before I was like, I can't do this anymore.
That's so sad because you can't even save it.
I know because it's ice cream. I know it was
so-
heartbreaking. But anyway, so Varsh and I went to that ice cream place, and then because the casino is right across the hall, we're like,
Let's dip in.
what if we go back in? And that's when I sent you guys that like Instagram video at like 2:30 in the morning. We
The
went to
roulette.
roulette, threw $20 in, like 10 minutes. We had lost it all. It was not a roulette game that lasted all. And we were like, fuck this, we're going to bed. And the other funny thing was we went back to the hotel, and as we're walking back to the hotel, just as this funny little anecdote, we're standing right outside our door, about to go in, and across the hall, somebody was fucking in there. Because loud as shit, we just heard this woman moaning. Clearly getting her brains fucked out. Whoever was in there, doing a good job.
Should have banged on the door.
Joined in.
But you know what it was? We both kind of heard it at first, and then Varsh was like, oh my God, do you hear that? And then we like both stopped, and so it was just silent, and we're just listening, and then you just hear her, and then I'm like, oh my God, those people are totally fucking. And Varsh is like, yeah, oh my God. And then she's like kind of standing there looking at me, and I'm like still listening, and she's like, okay, can we go into our fucking room now? But I was like standing there listening.
Oh, you were
I'm like-
outside.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
like, but I was like standing there in the hall, like, but I want to keep listening.
I want to hear. I want to
So,
hear.
so
Like, this is hilarious.
serious question:
Please.
does that get your engine going?
My engine going?
Yours
It
specifically
it
your
ma-
engine.
It makes. I mean, yeah. Go ahead. You're asking him. Yes. He's saying for himself. Yes.
Not-
the fact that he had to take so long.
Because for me,
to-
it's a
not
for me, it's a
no,
no.
but not
Okay,
yes.
hold on. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
For me, it's a no because I just to me I just feel like I don't know. It makes me feel like to me like I don't know. Sex in general is a very like personal, private thing.
Okay.
So when if it's like some other person, I never feel like, oh, that's hot, that's cool. I just feel like, oh, like I feel uncomfortable that I'm even privy to this sort of private this is not my business. I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Like,
I-
yeah,
I know he just answered.
yeah,
I'm gonna still say this. Like, I know we already said. I'm gonna say it again.
yeah,
You answer very quickly.
yes.
So to me, the fact that he had to take time to answer means that he's trying to find a way to say yes without sounding.
You know what it is? It's
Yeah.
not that specifically like starts the engine or anything. It's literally it's guy math. It's as simple as this. It's I wasn't thinking about sex. I hear other people having sex. Now I'm thinking about sex. I would like to have sex.
Can I just say
That's the train of thought.
So-
It's not like,
But can I-
other people are fucking let me.
follow-up
Like, it could
question,
have been
yeah.
like, Varsh and I could have walked by some guy in the hall watching porn on his fucking phone. And if her and I had heard it for a second, I would have been like, holy shit, Varsh, do you hear that guy was watching porn on his phone? And it would have been a similar train
And
of
you go,
thought. Like,
speaking of
I
porn-
wasn't thinking about sex. I'm now thinking about sex. I would like
You know
sex.
what's weird?
That's the train of
what's
thought.
You know what's weird? Can I ask you a follow up question?
Please.
If you saw people,
Let me dig this hole
if you saw
deeper.
people doing it in person, would have had the same effect, like visually, if you saw it? Because for me, like the visual makes it even more uncomfortable, and I'm even more not in that mood. And that's interesting because obviously, like if you watch something online, you get yourself in that mood. But for some reason, that exact same activity, but in person, makes me feel weird. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of that.
I guess there's like a certain amount of maybe uncomfortableness with it being like physically right there. Because even her and I, when we were standing out in the hall and heard it, there was a part of me that's like, I don't know, it was almost like weirded out.
You're
to
intruding,
some
yeah.
extent of like, like I've never.
Also, it's not like you. I said you're intruding, but that doesn't make sense because she's the one who's being loud as hell.
Yeah, it's like,
So,
fucking
everybody's-
tone it down. But also, again,
Yeah.
to this fella, I assume a fella, for all I know, another lady in there, but I assume this fella put in the fucking work, bro.
Unless
go.
unless she's faking.
Unless she's faking.
Unless she's
You know what it
faking.
was too is when Varsh and I left in the morning, there was a small part of me that wanted to like see the couple or at least see the guy and just be like, what was going on?
Like,
Like
a 290-year-old
to put like a mental image in my head of like what was going on in there last night, you know?
You're
Oh,
such
it was
you're
so loud
you,
last
you are a
night.
creep.
Oh.
Maybe.
This is so. What I want to talk about here, I'm gonna jump
we
right in
starting?
here. What?
He's got
Oh, it is going?
introduce-
Oh, the intro for the show. That's
Yeah.
right.
Welcome back to episode, is it already 57? Of Wildly Adequate, the show about anything, everything, and usually nothing. I, as always, am one quarter of your host.
We got the wide now, huh?
We do, thank God.
the Y.
Mr. Matthew Urso. And I am joined by Patrick, Mark, and Malcolm. The gang's all here. Everybody's doing fine. Mark, take us away.
Wait,
Oh!
before he takes us away, hold on.
Share, subscribe. We're everywhere. Check us out.
That's not it, but I have an order of business to.
Uh-oh,
Can you
Patrick's
cut
got
to see?
business. Yeah, cut to see, Matt.
Hey, scumbag.
Oh.
Yeah, you stopped watching our videos.
Oh.
Our views have plummeted on YouTube. Get back on it. Okay, go on.
Okay. Who are you talking to?
I don't know. That's the scumbag.
So, what I want to talk about,
Scumbags.
what I want to talk about is something that I've talked about with Patrick before, and I feel like he gives me shit for it, and I don't blame him necessarily, but I think it's an interesting thing to talk about. So, there's been times where I think there's one specific time where Patrick and I have bought the same
Yeah.
exact clothing item.
Okay.
When? Wait. Which was it?
I don't know what it was. I think it was a pair of pants or I don't know what it was. It was something that was like same brand, same. It was everything the same.
Okay.
And there was a time where like we both went out somewhere and we were wearing the same exact thing.
Wait, were you upset and I was happy?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if you were happy, but I was like annoyed by it, and I'm like and I was like I hate the idea of matching clothes with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think about why that is. I don't know if it's because I want to like stand out or because I just feel like it's kind of corny to like match with people.
Rampant narcissism, perhaps.
Maybe, but to me, like
Rampant.
even like in one of my old relationships, it was like she had suggested to like match shit, and I was like, "There's nothing I want less than that." Like,
Wait. With her?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't want to match with her?
No.
In what sense, though? Like exact same shirt or like
No,
color
Or the same
scheme?
shirt.
it would be like same exact pair of shoes, or maybe it would be like the same exact style of hood, like the same color or type of hoodie, like something like that. Where it's like I don't want to look like a copy at the same.
Interesting.
I feel like matching as partners looks a little bit corny, and also with a friend, like I would never want to go out with one of you guys and we have the same exact. I would never wear that same exact graphic tee, and we're both going out in the same graphic tee. I think it's kind of shitty to the person who originally wore it, or who, like I wouldn't do something that's like that's more your style, like graphic tees.
Sure.
So I wouldn't want to just jump into the graphic tee style and be like, I'm gonna do the exact same thing that Matty's doing.
I vaguely remember the time you're talking about, and correct
Yeah.
me if I'm wrong,
I think
but
we were at a bar.
I think we were at a bar, and I think we were with two ladies. I think that was the
I think
scenario.
we were, dude.
So I think
Yeah.
I think that's a reason to be upset.
so.
Yeah,
is
in that
that
I wasn't
very
legitimately
specific
upset.
circumstance, I could see myself being annoyed if like
What the hell, dude?
if
Like, are you
Patrick
kidding
and
me?
I, if
Wasn't it
Patrick
corduroy?
and I, like
Wasn't it corduroy something?
I'm
pants,
not
maybe?
sure, but is it? So did you want to stand out for the ladies? Is that what it was?
No, I'm saying this is a personality thing, a personality trait that I have in
Oh, so
general.
even if we weren't with the ladies,
Exactly.
Okay.
So and I've been thinking about this, like if we all went out and like Malcolm and I were wearing the same exact t-shirt or like same exact, if you had the same exact color hoodie,
Mm-hmm.
same shape, whatever, I'd be like, oh, I wouldn't say anything to him. I might be like, oh shit, we're wearing the same thing. In my head, I'd be like, I kind of wish we weren't wearing the same thing. And I feel like it's maybe it's a part of me that again wants to stand out, wants to look different. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because I think sometimes when I look at somebody, I'm like, I could like their style. I'm gonna move away from that. And let's say everybody has a certain thing about them.
Sure.
Let's say Matty has his type of hairstyle,
Sure.
and we have our friend group. I would even if for whatever reason I'd be like, that's my favorite type of hair I've ever seen, and I want to do it as well. I wouldn't do it because he has the same exact hairstyle. That's how much I want to. That's how much I don't want to be like somebody
But
else.
like
Exactly.
Malcolm
You know
and I,
what I'm
for example, have like similar.
you guys have very similar yourselves
hair.
right now, actually.
Sometimes yours is
Tell
a
me I'm
little
wrong.
more-
They do,
True,
right?
that's true.
Sometimes your hair is a little more curly than mine is, but like you and I have some. Because even Varsh was joking.
Do you wanna
this
know-
past weekend because you were wearing a leather jacket
Oh,
too,
that he screams it?
and Varsh was.
He curls it.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
I
there you go.
haven't curled my hair for like over a
You
year.
haven't
now.
done that for a while.
But Varsh was saying to me at one point, she's like, "You and Malcolm from behind, other than the fact that he's taller than you, he's like, you two from behind this weekend because we were both in leather jackets." She's like, "You both look exactly the fucking
That's
same."
so funny, bro. That's so
What?
good. That you guys looked exactly the same.
Yeah, it was
except
like
for
the
height.
same Yeah, just from
I
behind.
saw Matty wearing his leather jacket. I was like, hey, Matty's wearing a leather jacket too.
Because like the reason I was thinking about this topic is because now that I'm trying to grow some facial hair, I'm like, you know what? If one of you guys like were like known for years and like he's the stash guy. Like he's been
the
the guy.
stash
Everybody
guy.
knows him when you meet him. It's like, oh, dope mustache. Like I wouldn't just be like, I'm gonna join the mustache club.
So-
and now it's gonna be four dudes going out. Two of them have a mustache. Like you know.
So your topic to some extent is the idea of like copycats.
Copycats and kind of like trying to be original and trying to be like yourself but also distinct.
Here's what I like
Interesting.
though.
Yeah.
I can understand if it's like the exact same sweater, exact like,
Item of clothing, same
literally
brand.
same brand,
Sure.
same store, whatever.
Okay.
But I kind of like it if we're like,
Color matching.
yeah, theme,
I don't like that.
theme matching almost. Where we're
I
wearing our own
personally don't like that.
clothes, but
There's different settings for this in terms of the relationship.
can I just say
thing.
one more thing on it?
Please.
It sort of feels like it kind of increases group cohesion visually. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Visually,
Well,
it
I
might,
think
yeah.
there's an argument to be made that like if the four of us were gonna go out somewhere, let's say a swanky dinner, perhaps, or like a night on the town, a casino,
Night on the
even.
a McDonald's after this.
I think there's like something to be said about the idea of like imagine the four of us in suits or something like the Game Awards thumbnail.
Okay.
Like that idea of like we're all in fucking tuxes or some shit.
Even then,
looking like sharp as fuck.
even then, when I think about like a dope, like even if we're watching like Casino or Goodfellas or something, like they're wearing suits, but oftentimes they have like their own flair. Like they have like a bit of a different cut or a different color, or the tie's a different design.
Right.
Like I feel like there shouldn't. It
Well,
should
that's
never be
even
like
almost
it's-
like a costuming thing.
And
for,
sure,
like, the character per
exactly,
se, but I
but-
get what you're saying.
But I think it just adds to the originality of like you have your own little flair. You could have a same theme, but I don't like the color matching. I don't like that because then to me it's
So you don't
like
like theme matching?
because to
generally?
me I've been getting more and more into like fashion and like buying shit that I really like to just styling myself in a certain way, and I feel like it's like a piece of originality and kind of expressing yourself just like you would like I don't know what's another way you'd express yourself. I don't know, just like
song and dance.
sure, or even
furries.
stating your opinion about shit. It's like to me, fashion. I think about it in the same way of like it says something about who you are and it's very individual to you.
Okay.
So that's why the copying of it would make me feel as weird as if I copied someone's hairstyle, copied someone's
And we're talking even theme, even if it's like coordinating theme.
like theme and what like if we were saying let's do business casual, no, then we're all doing business casual. I'm saying if it's like copying like theme in terms of colors or in terms of like exact items.
In terms of like matching colors and themes and stuff, it also depends because like to the relationship point.
Sure.
Varsh and I, for example, have only ever like I could probably count on one hand the amount of times we've made a conscious
Okay.
decision to be like Or like I'll go over to her house and I'm in like that green golf shirt I have, and she'll be like, "Oh well, if you're wearing the green golf shirt, like I'll wear a green shirt," kind of thing. Or like for her birthday last year when we did like the Barbie thing and whatever, and like her and I were both wearing like pink and white, and that we didn't even coordinate. That just happened.
I'm just kidding.
That just happened where like I told her, I said I'm getting an outfit, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, and then we just showed up in like pink shirts and white pants or.
You were doing the Vice City.
Exactly. I was doing fucking. God, what a good look. Matt, edit in the picture from California of me in the pink shirt, looking fucking nice.
You didn't edit in not in last time.
Did I not?
You didn't do it.
Oh, did I miss fucking?
Hey,
Jimmy. Matt, edit in nothing right fucking now. Nothing. Fix for last week.
Give me a pizza without.
But in terms of like with friends, that I think is weird. I don't think there's anything wrong if like any one of us, if all four of us grabbed the same shirt off the same rack at the same store. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do think though that it would be a thing of like if we were going out on like a nice dinner and the four of us had bought the same shirt, I would definitely be texting the chat of like,
don't fucking wear the same shirt.
"Hey, I'm wearing this tonight, so like maybe don't wear the same fucking
I'm wearing
shirt."
that tonight.
Yeah.
Or like,
So
"Hey,
who gets claimed to it?
Or like, "Hey, I was planning on wearing this. Is anybody else? Oh, Malcolm is. Okay, I'll wear a different
Sound
shirt."
like women.
This we do
Sound
sound
like
a little
women.
lady.
Oh my god, I'm wearing that shirt tonight. So can
But to
we please
me,
not wear the same
but they
shirt?
got the
Malcolm,
lady,
you're
the,
making
la-
a point
the
here.
lady's got a point. I'm not trying to go out. It's okay. If we're just hanging out like this, I don't give a shit if Patrick's wearing the same kind of color sweater as me. I'd probably point it out and I'd be like, "Oh, look, we're wearing the same sweater." But if we're
And
going
you'd
out,
be upset about it.
I wouldn't be upset about it. I'd be like,
Annoyed about it.
in like just like this,
Yeah.
podcast setting or just non-podcast setting.
Both.
Podcast setting, I'd be a little bit annoyed by it because I'm like, we're presenting ourselves. Non-podcast setting, I'd kind of make a joke about it, but I wouldn't actually be upset about it.
Okay.
And I don't think podcast I'd be upset, but I'd be like, I don't like that.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I think I just wanted to hear your guys' opinions on why you think I may feel that way. If you have any theories, yeah, I don't know, because like I said, it just feels so personal to me, like how I dress and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly why you feel that way, but after Malcolm.
And like same like I said with the mustache thing, like to me it's just like a part of originality, and I almost feel like in a way I'm trying to convince myself, but like I'm trying to be myself, but also still stand out in a way. Like I don't want to. I wouldn't stop being myself just to stand out. I would still be myself, but kind of alter it in a way that makes me, feel different a little bit too.
I feel like I feel the same way kind of sometimes, but it's more like I don't want to feel like I'm copying someone else. Like I want to be my own person. I want to have my own style, and sometimes it's hard to even like. Sometimes when I go shoe shopping, I'm like this shoe is really popular and a lot of people wearing it, but at the same time, I really love it. So I'm just gonna commit to it and like style around it. I don't care if like I see someone else with the same shoe, like it's whatever. But with friends, like let's say like I know Patrick has the same brown Uniqlo pants as I do, and like a year and a half ago, Isabel consciously like we agreed on it. She's like, I'm gonna buy the exact same shoes you have so we can match. And I was like, yeah, like that's cool. I don't mind. Like I don't mind matching. Like if Patrick showed up to a restaurant with me, and we were both wearing the same Uniqlo pants, I'd be like, oh, I wouldn't be upset by it.
You know what's funny? I don't think I've ever like. Can you hear me? Good.
Yeah, I mean I'm not wearing headphones, but I can hear
can you hear me, Matt?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever experienced what Mark is saying of like with like friends, but I have for a fact experienced it
with a stranger.
with a stranger. Like if I see a stranger wear the same, it's happened to me wearing an H&M sweater.
H&M?
H&M is the biggest.
Dude, I used to go to Guelph campus all the time.
Yeah.
And there'd be some fucking guy with the same exact T-shirt, like same logo.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, bro, I'm not going to H&M anymore.
And for whatever reason, I would get this feeling come over me of like, I can't even put it into words actually, but it's just like,
Yeah,
I don't
that's what I feel.
good.
That's what I feel.
I completely agree. When I see a stranger wearing the same thing as me, I go, what the fuck?
But in what setting? Like if you're walking around your school
Public
campus and
Yeah.
you
Literally
see
that.
somebody that
Literally
throws you
that.
off?
Yeah.
Matty,
Literally
that
I'm
wouldn't
telling
bug
you,
me at all.
I'm telling you, if you're walking down and you saw some guy with the exact same Top Gun shirt, you'd be like,
But
might.
like,
No,
if I'm
see,
walking down the
Matty
street,
or maybe he'd be like,
Matty
oh, that's
would make a
cool.
new friend that day.
Maybe.
but if I'm walking down the street or like if I was at school or something, I feel like that wouldn't be. It would
Oh.
be more of a thing of like if the four of us were out at a bar. And
All
like
wearing that
a
Top Gun
guy
shirt?
at the yeah, apparently I'd be wearing the Top Gun shirt at a bar. But if like we were at a bar or something, and like the table beside us, some guy sat down in like the same shirt, that would be. Still, I wouldn't really care, but that would be slightly more like I would notice it just because we're in the same space.
What about-
like
what
us
about-
walking by
Would you
each
be
other?
making
What about
intimate
this?
eye
What
contact
about-
with him all night?
What about this? What about so we got you a pair of shoes for your birthday.
True. Yes, they're
What
very
if-
nice. Thank you.
No problem. What if you were walking around in public like and you saw like 3 different guys that day wearing the same pair of shoes? Wouldn't you be like, fuck, like what the
That
hell?
would, that would bug me even
defeated.
less,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because I'm not like a big shoe person. So
Oh,
that
okay.
would bug me even less.
So you
It
don't
would
like-
be-
so you don't
What
like
would
jump
bug
in
you if
here.
some? What would bug you if someone like what item or thing, if it was duplicated with other people, would you kind of be annoyed that you weren't the guy who was just like
I think if
representing?
it's something like more like rare, something you feel like I have this one sweater I got like from a company in the UK, and it's like a super dope sweater. I've never seen anybody wear it anywhere. If I saw someone wearing that, I would be very upset to the point where I don't want to wear the sweater.
I've never seen.
For me, if I'm wearing like a really nice pair of like my dunks that I got, like the blue and yellow dunks that I like a lot, like if I went out to like an event with somebody, or if I went out to like a little dinner or whatever it is, and like a small-ish group of people, and some guy was wearing the same exact blue and yellow shoes, I'd be like, God damn it!
See, but that's what I'm saying. To me, it's the point of like, if it's a stranger, I almost don't care about like what the fuck they're wearing. But like, if it was a setting where it was a smaller enclosed thing, and me and another person were matching, it might be slightly more annoying, especially if it was like, I guess to the rarer point.
Sure.
Like, because I even think about, this is just a stupid example compared to what you guys are talking about, but that hoodie I have where it's Rick and Archer drinking and doing like the pause thing that they do at Archer, that hoodie
Should be thrown out.
should be thrown out. But that hoodie, I've never seen a single person in my life
'cause it's hideous.
wearing it because it's hideous. And that hoodie, I've had like people like say to me at like, you know,
funny.
if
yeah.
I wore it to like a Comic-Con or just even like out and about or like at school or something. Like I've had people say to me like, oh, that hoodie's like really cool or whatever.
Pity.
It's like, oh, pity? Like, oh, that hoodie's really cool, or like, oh, I love Rick and Morty, or oh, I love Archer kind of thing, or where'd you get that, blah, blah. So it's like, because I've had that feedback of like, oh, this isn't a store-bought thing, because it was some online place I found it,
Oh, perfect.
then it's like,
I said, oh, perfect. You're gonna go find it.
because it's like, I guess, rarer in quotes. If I happened, like if we were going out to a bar one night and I was wearing that hoodie, and then you guys were like, oh yeah, a couple friends of mine are gonna come, and one of your fucking
Same
friends
hoodie.
and one of your friends shows up in the same hoodie, that would be a little more annoying. Of like, where the fuck did you find this?
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you'd. I think you would bond over that. But anyways,
there would be a bonding to it. Yes, there would be like, oh, like same shit.
I'm gonna slightly steer us off track here.
Please.
You brought up bars. You guys can call me a seething racist, but I'm gonna say this comment.
Okay, here
I'm
we
gonna
go.
say this
Wow.
comment anyways.
Wow.
Hey, please explain to me why. And this is a phenomenon I've noticed in Ontario.
I'd just like to preface: A, thanks for that edit. B, seething racist is what you're okay with us.
Are you gonna say you
calling
hate
it.
other Egyptians?
Huh? What?
Are you gonna say you hate other
Yeah, we're,
Egyptians?
No.
we're gonna probably cut all that out. But go ahead.
You're okay with us calling you a seething?
I don't think you
racist.
guys will. I don't think you guys
Okay,
will.
Go on.
So, in Ontario,
Again, thanks.
so you're gonna have to cut that
Thanks.
Yes.
out. Okay, at the bar
At
in
the
our
local bar.
Sure. So at the local bar in our town, please
Mm-hmm.
explain to me why. And we've noticed this before. You and I have pointed this out before.
Okay.
We would go sit in the patio, and
Mm-hmm.
every white guy has the same slick backed hair.
Or saying like
Depending
that-
on the day, they have the same hat,
Mm-hmm.
hockey boy look.
Are you saying like the flow, the
The
flow
flow.
thing?
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm definitely
The
familiar
cap.
with this.
Well, I think it's because a lot of these guys that hang out with each other are on the same team or just like in close knit groups. Like they all go out together and they have similar styles.
But
yeah.
we're talking copy paste throughout the restaurant, different groups.
Yeah, see
So-
that would be for something. For example, I'd be like, "Yo, boys, I'm not doing the flow." like everybody's doing it. Like I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not
Like, I don't
doing
care if
the
I like
flow.
it. I don't care if it's my favorite thing in the world. Like if everybody's doing it.
Yeah, there is like a hockey guy look
There's hockey.
that like a
alley.
lot of the guys
And
I used to know and play with.
I've got a
And I've
comment
always
on the
carried
fact that
on.
every time we go, there's always
At a point.
there's always hockey d bags wearing hats.
Yeah.
the exact all of
Hockey
them.
D-bag?
The hockey
Hockey
guy
D-bags.
look of
Hockey
like
guy.
the cap front or
What are you-
backwards
What are you confused about?
with the hair hanging out the
Yeah.
back and like, you know, probably a white plain t-shirt with a chain. Throw whatever pants and shoes you want on. Definitely a genre of person.
Why do
that
I every
exists.
time I imagine that guy, he's like chewing on a bottle cap.
Almost certainly
Like,
chewing
he's
on
just
a
like
bottle
chewing on
cap.
some shit that he shouldn't be chewing on.
something.
They shouldn't be chewing that.
Gum
that?
even, but bottle cap works.
Yeah, I don't know. Or he has like really he has to use chapstick. He's like really bad lips.
And that being said, It's a dope look.
The dope look.
Kind
right
of
there.
like the look, bro.
So get in on it.
I can't.
Okay.
I can't do it.
Why?
I want to.
Wear a fucking hat and slick your hair back.
I'm just not of the Aryan persuasion.
Wow.
Dude, here's what I'm gonna say.
I can't do
This sort of topic, when I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? I broke through that sort of like kind of silly, superficial mindset that I have. I don't think it's necessarily super silly. I think that like I like that I'm original in a lot of ways, and I try to be a little bit standoutish, or I try to wear something that I don't know. I like that I'm trying to be original for myself, but at the same time, like I was telling Patrick, like with this sort of like hairstyle, like this facial hairstyle that I was doing, like we went to church one time and like fucking like every other guy had the same shit, because I think a lot of Egyptian people, they have problems like growing the cheek hair, so they just kind of let it grow like I'm letting it grow. And so I shaved it. I was like, fuck it, I don't want to do this. Like every other guy's doing it. But then I was thinking, like, even Patrick mentioned it, where it's like, it's a very popular, like, you know, it's a very, very common hairstyle, and I feel, or facial hairstyle. And I feel like when it comes to something that I really value and is really rare or something, then maybe I'd have like an annoyed by it. But like with something so generic, it would be like being like, oh, I'm not going to get a fade because people don't get fades. It's like, you know.
Well, there's also a
I got
certain
through.
amount of you can only do so much, because I guarantee you right now, somewhere else on planet Earth, somebody is sitting around in your hoodie, pants, socks, shirt, and even fucking underpants. So it's like you can only do
Sure.
so
I
much.
think the odds of that
in
are
quotes.
astronomically low.
That out of the other 8 billion people, there isn't somebody wearing the exact same outfit as
Yeah,
Mark
because
right
then
now.
you're gonna go to different countries where they have different brands.
Who cares? What
Whatever.
I think what I'm getting at is like, I think ultimately, and I think we can all agree, it's more important to just be confident in yourself and like your own style and like how you look and how you present yourself, more than comparing yourself to what other people might be doing or might not be doing. Like, who gives a shit what they're doing? Just do what feels good for you and comfortable for you. But at the same time, like, the matching thing still stands for me. But in terms of being original or whatever, it's like you gotta let that go a little bit.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Go on.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first from Mark. Do what feels good to you. Gentlemen, I'd like to open the floor with my topic here. I have I don't know, maybe interesting one. We'll see what you guys have to think about it today. A little more open and broad, kind of like last week.
Yeah, get to it.
My topic is history. And there's a bunch of different ways you can take this, but I was
Malcolm
just
doesn't like
curious about
Malcolm loves history, don't you?
I guess you.
if any of you are into history, and there's a multitude of ways you could take this. It could be... That scared the shit out of me. It could be world history. It could be history within certain industries or fields or things like that. But I just wanted to ask you guys about history and everybody's interest.
Let's talk about the history of the oil industry.
Okay, tell us. Go ahead.
That was a joke.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really, I'm not the biggest history guy, but the one history that I do like and that I've watched a documentary on like multiple times, and we even watched it in high school. I think it's the first time we watched it in high school. I think it was like in our media English class or something. It was like the video games one. Remember, I think the documentary is just called Video Games or something. And it was just kind of like going back from like to the Atari, and like the Pong game and shit like that, and just kind of like going through the history of games. And then like I remember being super excited when they got to like, you know, the PS3 and the PS4 and all this shit that I loved and stuff. So yeah, I love video games, and so I like learning about video game history. It's not something that I'm actively interested in, and since I'm not a big history guy, like if I had to pull at something, maybe I'd pull from that. And obviously, like I won't get ahead of myself here, but there's like the war history that's really cool, and I'm sure you'll get to that. But
Well, I wasn't going to take it down this avenue first, but video game history and like artistic things that I'm into, movies, comic books, video games, these different fields or like entertainment industries that I enjoy. I am a history nerd. I like to think it comes from my dad, and I'm very much like into the histories of these things I like. Video games being one of them, where like it's definitely something I've like read about or like watched documentaries and like videos and stuff. And to me, it is because video games are such a young, in quotes, entertainment form compared to like movies, where it's like, well, the first thing on film is like 1895 or whatever the fuck it is, and it's like, I mean, it's in Nope. It's the fucking guy on like the horse or whatever.
oh, with the
So-
lasso or something.
I think
he
it's
doing?
just
Oh,
him
he's
like
just
riding
riding
on the
it. Oh, I
horse,
see.
because that was like the first thing of like a bunch of pictures spliced together that when you know, it's like a fucking flip book where it's
Yeah.
like you flip through it fast enough that it was like a moving moving picture, a motion picture. Like that's where that shit comes from. So it's like, okay, that's interesting. And it's like, you know, when you get to, I forget the fuck, is it Singing in the, it's not Singing in the Rain. What the fuck's the movie? I forget. But it's like when you get to the first movie where it's like the first time there was like dialogue and it wasn't just, you know.
Gone with the Wind? Is that?
Nah, it wasn't that. It was after that. I should know this. I went to fucking school.
I think the first movie that there was dialogue?
Like audio.
Oh, I see.
As opposed to like before where it was all like, you know, the
Silent
shit of
films.
like people like talking and then it fucking cuts to black with like what they're saying.
Like
on text.
vaudevillian shit?
Yeah, like when it was the first like actual recorded dialogue and shit on screen. So it's like there's interesting stuff like that. The stuff that interests me more is by the time you get to like, you know, the 60s and the 70s and like 80s and all that kind of shit. But with video games, because they're so new, in quotes, I mean, it's only really like at this point, maybe 50 years tops. It's not, you know, well over 100 like film is. It's a little more recent and manageable.
And it's
so
crazy that it like
cool.
dominates all other industries and it's so
yeah,
young.
and it's
Wild.
cool. It's crazy too, like how fast it has gotten to where it is. Because it's like if you watch a movie from like, let's say when audio counts kind of thing. If you watch a movie from like the 30s or 40s to a movie now, yeah, there's like CG and this and that and like cameras have gotten better and microphones and like editing and all this shit. But it's like still largely, it's inherently the same thing. Whereas like if you look at fucking Pong and then you look at Red Dead Redemption 2, it's like, well, these aren't even in the same
stratosphere.
like ballpark of like what this is kind of thing. But like the history of games to me is cool. It is interesting thinking about like the mid to late 70s when it was like people at universities and stuff and computers were like first sort of a thing fucking around with this shit. And I didn't even know this till too recently. What's unfortunate is that the first games in quotes don't even really exist anymore, which sucks because it's not like film where it's like, yeah, there's the guy on the horse, like the first thing captured on film. With games, it's like, yeah, the shit these people were doing at universities with like punch cards, like nobody held on to that or copied it or saved it because they didn't like think to. It was just like, here's this thing we're fucking around with. So it's like that sucks. But it's like, yeah, you get arcades and you get like Pong and Atari dominating like the 70s and shit. And then just totally fucking up the entire market by putting out all these shit games on the Atari where they were making games in like literally 2 or 3 weeks. And then it just totally stunk.
What was that one game that like really did it?
E.T. was the one that a lot of people point to as being the one. And that was a whole, again, to the history where it's fascinating of like, for decades, it was this like rumors of like, there's copies of E.T. buried out in the desert somewhere. And then it was like a few years ago, they went and did some dig in New Mexico and they're like, yeah, here's like thousands of copies of this E.T. game from like 79 or 80 or whatever that like Atari was just like, well, fuck, we can't sell this anymore. Bury it in New Mexico for some reason. But then it's like, so yeah, you get that, you get the infamous video game Crash, and then you get praise be unto Nintendo coming out in like the early 80s with like, hey everybody, here's a little thing called the Nintendo Entertainment System with a little game called Super Mario Bros. And then we're fucking off to the races. And you know, we get to where we are today with all the shit. You have the console wars in the 90s of Sega and Nintendo. Sega eventually bows out and we get a new player in the field. PlayStation. Sweet, sweet PlayStation. And that's a whole interesting too, where it's like Sony went to Nintendo at first and was like, hey, we want to get in on games with you. There exists. There's only like maybe less than 10 in existence. One just sold recently for like hundreds of thousands, if not a couple $1 million, of a Nintendo PlayStation. Like Nintendo made a PlayStation with Sony, and then I forget why, but it like ended up not working out, and then they both fucking hated each other, which is why even now to some extent, but there was for years this like bad blood between them of like Sony fucking couldn't stand Nintendo and Nintendo couldn't fucking stand Sony, and then you get to PlayStation being like, all right, fuck you guys, we'll go do our own thing, and thus the PlayStation 1 is born. So yeah, there's a lot of like art things like that I find interesting. Comic books, obviously, going back to like, you know, comic books being around for a while, but then you get Superman in like the late 30s and that just birthing every fucking superhero ever of like, oh shit, Superman's really popular, let's do that kind of thing. And then you get your Batmans and your Wonder Womans, and then more in the 50s and 60s, a gentleman by the name of Stan Lee comes around, and hello, Marvel. But Patrick, Malcolm, before I get to the other part of history that I'm fascinated with, What else? Are either of you into history at all, in any sense?
I really like world history.
Interesting.
I really like world history. One thing that I always think about, and I've been seeing it a lot pop up on my like Instagram and everything, is just the pyramids. Like how the hell did it happen? And they're so, and like Mark was saying, how the hell did it happen?
Hey, shut up.
Was it aliens? Was it the human beings?
Is that what you mean by that?
No, like how they built it.
Oh, how they built it.
Not the aliens.
Okay.
But even Mark was saying, it's just like he's saying how it's unfathomable how big it is, and how like a stone, like you stand next to a stone and it's like way bigger than you even are, and there's like hundreds or even I don't know how many rows there is, like 1,000 rows, hundreds of rows, something like that.
I don't know how many rows it is, but like
Fake Egyptians.
just one block is like way bigger than you, and there's like at least, I don't know, 100 blocks, 200 blocks upwards.
And then I think I also saw like a clip of a podcast of Neil deGrasse Tyson that's saying,
Wait.
what? What?
Is that actually how you say that?
No,
It's Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I think it's Neil deGrasse.
Not deGrasse?
No,
I mean, the
Neil
show, the
deGrasse.
show,
You're
the,
thinking
the
the
show. The show with Drake is called Degrassi.
I think it's Neil deGrasse.
Neil
I'm so
deGrasse
sorry.
Tyson. Put the E.
Patrick loves it.
And Patrick just found himself.
Patrick
loves it.
loves
Patrick
it.
just found himself a clip for this one.
Great.
Can like half the clip just be Patrick laughing?
Okay, go.
Anyways,
You know what
nothing,
I've
go on.
noticed? I was scrolling through some of the clips and I'm like, bro, like 80% of these are just Patrick. Like I was going through and I swear to God, like 7 out of 9 clips I looked at were just like, it started with you talking and it was just you.
Wow.
And I was like,
Mark's
No
calling.
chance. Pull it up.
Mark's calling
Show me
it.
the receipts. Show me the
Please,
receipts.
God, don't do it right
we're
now.
not gonna. I mean, we're gonna cut this out.
Let Malcolm.
maybe
keep going.
maybe I'm wrong.
Do I go?
Okay, you want to do like the last like 10?
Sure.
Okay, so 1.
Wait,
wait.
press on it though. The thumbnail doesn't mean I'm. Okay, yeah.
Okay, wait. I want to skip the ones where we're in a group because that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So okay, so 1,
I'm sick and tired of
2,
my second
3.
is my little girl's
That's 1. So 3 out of the 4 individual ones.
I ever get to that place where like
4 out of the.
I'm gonna insert the statement right now.
That's 5.
Wow, I'm surprised she didn't.
Okay, that's 2 that aren't.
Unless the buffet is great.
That's 6.
Breakfast.
That's 1 of Malcolm. That's 1 of me.
You know what's
So 7 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Not
6,
bad.
7.
It's like 7.
Seven
to
out-
4,
seven out of-
to
7 out of
5 right
10.
now.
Yeah,
7 out of what?
7 out of like
7,
of
4.
the 10 clips ish I looked at. There was like 7 of you, or 7 out of the 11.
Okay, that's
Is this
recent.
going to give you a
What he's
complex?
saying is he
now?
doesn't want you to be there anymore.
No, it's not a problem. I just noticed it's the majority.
Is this going to give you a complex?
I
now?
mean, I'm going to go in and actually do the math of the full thing now because I
wow,
gotta
he's
know.
going to do it.
I gotta know.
Anyways, so as Malcolm was saying,
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Degrassi.
He was saying that, I don't know what the amount of time was, but the next thing that humans built themselves is like big as the pyramids, or is like, I don't know how to describe it, was the Eiffel Tower in Paris.
oh, I think I've seen that clip. Yeah, where he's making that comparison of like, yeah, they built the pyramids, and then it took like centuries and thousands of years before we built anything on par.
Yeah, like the Egyptians with this is like crazy architecture, and then just couldn't do it, and then humans just couldn't do it until the
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower for some reason.
It's so weird.
And then just to add on top of that, another history I really love is music history. I just love discovering.
Of course about that.
Yeah, me and Mark took a course
saved
about
some-
that.
we saved a bunch of songs
It was
from
really
that,
cool.
I hated it.
I
but
just it
we
was
got some good songs out of it.
yeah,
so.
it was a terrible course, but it's just fun to learn about artists back in the day, how music progressed, how like sounds progressed, how like
Record labels and
record labels, how people learned to love different kinds of music that weren't really seen as acceptable or whatever, and yeah, I don't know. There's a lot there in music.
Yeah. do you
Music's
think-
one. Sorry, go.
No, go.
I was just gonna say real quick. Music's one in terms of like art histories that didn't pop into my head, but that's definitely
Dude, I just
another
had the
one.
biggest
that,
deja
like,
vu, like the craziest deja vu of Matty, literally of me sitting in the seat looking over at Matty, and he said art histories. I don't know why.
with music, that's definitely one that I didn't mention, but that like comes across sometimes with like, especially I know my dad too's into that shit of like fucking rock and roll bands from like the
You know what-
70s and shit of
you know
like
what-
the history of
You know what the coolest history is that I really want to get into and learn more about is like ancient civilizations and shit of like, or maybe not. I don't know if this is considered ancient, but like yeah, like the fucking like Roman Empire and like the fucking like I don't know. I just want to learn about all those different civilizations that
You
were
should have
big.
been there with Malcolm and I in
I
high
was
school.
about to learn about. I took a class on like Scottish history, or whatever, and it was the first class. it really just felt like my professor was just naming 100 different lords of Scotland and then naming 100 different castles, and I had no idea what I was listening to. I was like, what am I supposed to write? What am I supposed to remember? And then I had to go to a textbook and read like 100 pages that week on all the same shit. I couldn't remember the names of 100 different Scottish lords, all the lands they come from, the order of who died and who became the heir and who died and who became the heir. It was unbelievable. I dropped it after one day. I couldn't handle it.
I feel like I want to learn about the gladiator shit specifically.
Well, Pat,
That's Roman, right?
Malcolm and I, we took that high school course that was like world histories,
cool, yeah.
which was like Egypt, Greece, Rome, and like a couple other things. And
I'd love to do that.
That's an area of history that interests me, specifically the Greek stuff. Just I also tie the mythology into it, but like I've always kind of liked Greek history in that sense. And when you get like, the birthplace of like democracy and all that shit, and like some of the scholars and philosophers.
I really like that part of
from that
Gladiator
time.
when they're trying to like do this fucking like the Senate and the group and like they're all like trying to like decide shit together, but it's like, no, we're gonna be a dictatorship or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's so I like that stuff. My only thing with that is that it's like so far away that I have a hard time to some extent like connecting with it. Whereas when we get to, and we'll get to more recent history, that I'm fascinated with. But Fahim, history, say something.
Wait, what?
History, say something.
It's
Hold
your
on, wait.
turn.
I was
History,
gonna
say something right now, or build off of something.
Your turn. I was gonna ask Malcolm and now you, because you brought up the ancient histories as well.
Yes.
How quickly did you guys come to the conclusion that the
Here we go.
The Egyptians.
the ancient Egyptians were the best of all of the?
Actually, never came to that
Civilizations.
conclusion.
I was gonna say didn't come to that conclusion.
Really, you're baffled by their pyramids to this day.
So that means their whole civilization.
Present day engineers are
I just
baffled.
love the ancient.
Present day engineers. What did he say? I didn't even hear.
Yeah, I love what he said.
What did I say?
The present day engineers are
Present day engineers are baffled.
I mean, it's interesting, but I just out of like those big three of like Greek, Roman, Egyptian, Greek, I kind of gravitate to the most.
Yeah, but our
Because you like their tzatziki sauce.
The Slouvlaki.
yeah, but our yeah, but our present day engineers baffled with how the Pantheon was built.
Dip me some
No.
souvlaki and some
Souvlaki.
tzatziki sauce.
I will say
maybe.
though, and this is just a tiny anecdote, and then Patrick, I want you to keep
Is
going
it?
with history
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know if you remember Malcolm, but I still laugh about that course in high school, and I will not name the teacher's name, but
Miss
the
Laporte.
teacher. But the teacher we had,
Is that the one who smoked?
no,
No.
that was the
She
other one. Older
I don't want to be
lady.
mean, but she was like the bowling ball.
Bowling ball.
She was quite round.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
She was quite round.
Yeah.
Don't act like that,
Thank
bro.
God.
They all knew.
I didn't know.
God.
I didn't know you were talking about until you said it.
Thank,
Bowling ball.
thank
Concede
God
the
we're
ground.
cutting
I
the
can't
name.
imagine.
the
Her, I
ground.
can't imagine her face, but I imagine her haircut.
She has,
Yeah,
she has
yep,
a big
yep.
nose too.
Yep,
She kind of talks like Squidward a
How
little bit.
short? How short?
So anyways,
pretty short.
Can't wait to cut the name. But she, part of what we
Oh
talked
my god!
about
Wait,
was
wait, wait.
like,
Did she have like a fucking like round nose?
Yeah, that's what I said. Round nose. Yeah.
part
Can you
of-
please like give me some?
She had
You're not entirely wrong.
Thank
she
you.
always had a deadpan, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
So I was pissed off.
Anyways.
Always.
Anyways.
I remember her, dude.
If you're listening, I doubt you are. I liked you. She
I hate.
showed
I
us-
didn't say I don't like her.
She showed
I also
us
don't like her.
a
I don't know why I just
video-
imagine Matty going down on her.
Jesus
Wait,
fucking Christ.
Why did you? None of us said we don't like her. Also, I don't like her. Go on.
I kind of liked her.
So she showed us.
Matty and Malcolm going down.
Both?
Good.
At the same time.
How would that even work? She showed us a video that was like about cavemen. That was one of the like last units we talked about, and it was not like a documentary. It also was like a movie, I guess. Maybe it was a documentary where
Was it called The Crudes?
they were just no.
Animated characters. Talking
No, but in it was just like cavemen in it, and it was like talking about cavemen, and she wasn't paying attention when she was showing it to us. So she's like looking down at her desk, like doing something on like her notepad or whatever. like she's writing something down or marking something or whatever, and the movie's playing, and it cuts to this shot in the movie where it's like a wide shot of like a lake, and there's like one guy like kind of at the side of the water like cupping his hands, and he's like getting water from like the riverbed,
Sorry
but
about
he's
that.
still laughing.
I know where it's going. That's why.
And then I've
You
told
do?
this before. And then in the background, it wasn't like in the foreground in the shot, but just like off on the side, it's like this guy getting fucking water, and then off on the side, it's this guy with this cave woman bent over, and he's just giving it to her. He's just fucking her brains out. And then like we're all kind of sitting there, and the whole class was like you hear you're like giggling and like what the fuck is this? And she looks up and immediately she's like face goes white and she's like horrified, like oh, and she runs over to the like laptop thing and she like skips ahead like a minute or whatever, like get past the scene. But it's just so funny.
Are they
to
still
me.
banging after a minute?
No, like she skipped past it and it was fine, but it was just so funny to me that in this like documentary about cavemen, they felt like they needed to include a shot of like this guy walking up to this girl, bending her over, and then just going
Dude,
to
that
work.
reminds me of the shit that I did with 12 Years a Slave that I told you guys about.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
don't they fucking that?
No, I don't even think it was a sexual scene. It was just like with the movie started, and then I was like, I had watched it like that summer or something, and like loved it, and it made me emotional. It was such a great movie. But I don't know. It was as if I was recommending it to one of you guys, being like, this movie's a masterpiece. It's great. And we watched it on the wheel, and it was amazing. So I was just excited about it. And so when we can cut the name Miss Amlinger, who I love very much, when she told me that I can just pick a movie for the class and just try to connect it to the religion lesson that we were doing that week, I picked 12 Years a Slave because it was fresh in my mind and I felt like we could take some like morals out of it and stuff. So we started watching it, and then there was like one of the first scenes, they're like, there's a bunch of slaves and they're like butt naked, like showering with buckets and stuff.
That was it.
And I was like, oh, and then she was like, oh, everyone was kind of whispering to themselves a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, I didn't say anything. I'm like, we'll just skip by it. And then like, and then it cuts to a scene of like a lady butt naked, she's getting whipped and shit. I'm like, all right, we're not gonna do this. Like, I was like, I told her like, hey, can we stop it? Like, I didn't think this would happen. Like, maybe we shouldn't do this. She was like, yeah, maybe we should pick a different movie. So that reminds me of that.
Miss Lepore loved kicking people out of that classroom. I can
Abdul?
recall
Kicking you?
me. I don't think she kicked me out ever.
She kicked Abdul out
she
many
kicked
times.
there was one time she kicked out
Abdul.
Abdumala. He said he was going to the washroom, but he was going outside to talk to his friend, and so I said really loud. I was like, Abdul, you said you were going to the washroom, not going to talk to your friend. And then she goes to the door, fucking opens it, and screams at him, kicks him out to the principal's office.
You are a snitch, bro. You're a snake and a snitch.
This was funny.
We have to. Last time when we got lunch with Michaela a couple weeks ago, she was saying, because I was like, I think she's going to be back in the summer or something, and I was saying that we have to get her on the show.
I know you guys always say I have. We said this to each other, that we question each other's conception of time. Was that accurate?
What do you say?
When we had lunch with Michaela a couple weeks ago.
A week ago,
No, it's like
because
about
it was
a week
right
ago,
before this past week.
Hasn't even been a week.
Went to thing.
Not even a week.
So
You guys always shit on my perception
maybe
of
like
time.
a week.
That
or
was
something.
crazy, man.
The other day, you talked to me on the phone like an hour later, and then Mark calls me. He's like, "Hey, Patrick said
No,
we
it
were on
was
the
30
phone like
minutes.
10
You remember it was
minutes
30
Well,
minutes.
so what happened was
It was-
that
Let's
I
move on.
said-
Let's
I
move
said-
on.
It was the difference of 10 and 30, and
I
you know
said
it.
it was 30, yes, but you said it was 10. You were wrong.
Patrick was a bit wacky. I was talking to Patrick. I think Patrick called. No, Matty called when I was with Patrick at his house, and Patrick picked up, and we talked to him, whatever. And then like 30, 40 minutes went by, and I was like, hey, like, let's see what Matty's up to, if we're still going to hang out, whatever. We call him, and then Patrick's like, oh, yeah, but we just called him. Like we literally just called him like 5-10 minutes ago or whatever. And then he picks up, and I'm like, hey, Matty, just to like make a point, like, how long ago did we call you? And he was like, oh, probably about a half hour ago. So Patrick was like way out. Anyway.
Patrick was way off. Patrick, history,
The whole
go.
point was that you were way off.
Patrick, history, go. Any interest at all? Jesus.
I have a pretty rudimentary interest in. He's looking at me so serious. This is serious. You're right. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, can I just make
Go
inside baseball
Yes.
point?
Yes.
I don't think and I'm not trying to be critical of you, Matty, but I don't think we have to be like, oh, like, all right, get onto the point. Like, I think we could just talk about whatever.
We
Yeah.
can.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
I know if you want to actually get back to that topic.
Yeah. And that was you being critical.
It was
of
me being
myself.
critical.
Steer
So
us a
then
little.
why not call a spade a spade?
Because I just don't want to be a dick, you know, or anything about it. I just feel like it's sometimes it's interesting to see where the conversation will go, because I think it'll just go naturally to where we're interested in, where it'll just naturally go to where we want it to go. You know what I'm saying?
not
So like,
history.
so for example, like, because I'm not a big history person, and Malcolm's not a big history person. I'm not sure if you're a big.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know. We didn't have much to say about it. That's why I think it naturally moved away from it. If we like had a lot to say about history, then we would have kept talking about it. Is what I'm saying.
You're so right, Patrick.
I will get on with
Patrick history now.
I will go on with the history, but
Please.
just one question for Malcolm,
Here
just
we
out
go.
of curiosity. Would you say you know a decent amount about history?
Yeah.
You
What
would
kind
say
of
you
what
would?
kind of history?
Sure. It's
Malcolm's
kind of a
something
broad
of a
question. There's a lot of
historian
history.
himself.
Like
there,
Canadian history, for example, too?
I know a bit about
Okay,
Canadian
what
history.
year was Canada founded?
1867.
Okay, he's right.
Is right. I was gonna say 1812, but that's the war.
It's the War of
It's the
1812.
Civil War, isn't it?
No, that's
1812
like the
was that,
Canada,
like,
America
wasn't it
thing.
some-
Was that 1812? Wasn't that France
Civil War?
and thing?
What?
Isn't that the one where Spider-Man gets introduced?
How dare you?
Okay,
So Patrick's history.
Patrick's history. So I have a pretty. I can't look at his face.
What?
Look at you. Look at you. So
What are we doing like this?
pretty rudimentary interest in history.
Define
I
rudimentary.
like.
He likes history.
Define rudimentary.
I like ancient.
Yeah, he's
history
ignoring what I'm
to some
saying.
Sure.
Kinda
Yeah,
ancient.
define rudimentary.
extent.
Patrick.
I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna get a
Okay.
sense with what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
No, I know what it means by what you're. But I'm saying like define the word.
Oh, define the word. Rudimentary is like
Simple.
pretty simple. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
You didn't like that he has said that, did you?
No, I mean I'm just curious what you'd say. With it.
But yeah, so I like ancient history and stuff.
How
Of
do you
recent
spell
memory.
Just kidding.
Of what?
No, how do you spell it?
How do you spell what?
We gotta crack this. We
Rudimentary.
gotta crack this window. My
Wait,
ass
wait.
is wet.
We
I'm
have
kinda warm.
to crack
I'm
this
pretty
window.
warm.
Wait, I want to try. How do you
Okay.
spell rudimentary?
I don't even know how to spell it.
Ask me one more time
How do you spell rudimentary?
for the clip. Sorry. R U D I
This is foggy.
MENTARY.
That's right.
Sure.
Ding ding ding.
You did it.
Can we get a fact check?
Nah, what's the point?
We're cracking the window open.
Yeah, he's gonna crack window. Can you, while he's
Thank
cracking that
God.
window, can you fact check?
Go on at some point.
He's gonna fact check me. Hold on, bro.
How fucking long are we here?
Yeah, let's do some McDonald's.
Rudimentary.
How did you spell it?
RUDIMENTARY.
Perfect.
Let's go, baby. So of recent memory,
Origin?
the most I've been meaning.
Country
to,
of origin.
Sorry, this guy keeps he's getting in the way of me.
Go ahead.
So I've been meaning to get more.
Can you use it in a sentence?
I mean, I've been meaning to get more into history. Of recent note or of recent memory, I've read the first volume of the Gulag Archipelago, which is what?
I don't know. I was gonna make a joke about how you're trying to sound fancy, but I've heard it.
I used to pronounce it. Do you guys remember how I used to pronounce it?
Which word?
archipelago.
I used to say
Archipelago.
archipelago or something.
Archipelago.
It's not delivery. It's archipelago. It's archipelago.
Archipelago.
And then I heard it on someone said it. They were like archipelago, and I was like, holy shit, my friends are assholes.
It's probably,
Go
Jordan, it's probably
fuck
Jordan
yourself.
Peterson or something.
Huh?
I think Peterson talks about it sometimes. Doesn't he?
Go
I
fuck
don't
yourself,
remember him.
Patrick.
All right, you read a book. What else?
Well, it's about. I didn't do that to you, bro.
Sorry.
do that to you.
Defeat in Patrick's
Come on.
voice. I don't do that to
He's
you.
not even,
to you,
even
dog.
angry. He's just disappointed.
Yeah, he's just like saddened. He's just hurt.
It's just basically a book about. There's 3 volumes too. I've
The
only.
breeze is coming in nice.
Hey, you guys, I'm done, bro. Hey, you guys. There's 3 volumes. There's fucking asshole. He's loving this.
God
It's
damn
so
it.
nice.
I have the second volume sitting in my room right now. Haven't gone to it, but it's 3 volumes, and it's about the Soviet Union and all of the atrocities that happened in the Soviet Union. I'm also really interested in. He's still laughing. I'm also really interested in history that has to do with religion.
Oh, like what?
What do you mean, like what?
Like the formation of like, what is it? Kind of like the whole like the Christianity and Islam and
Exactly.
and the Judaism and shit.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I'm kind of in the beginning of my journey of this. So I've only read about Christianity so far, but I do want to read about.
Oh, like the Crusades and shit.
No. I'm
Just
talking.
generally the Christianity history. Christians.
No, I'm talking about like the origins of like the text of like the Gospels. For
Oh,
example,
so you're not talking about like, I thought you were thinking like geographic and kind of like and like battles and
that would be cool to read about too, like of like
because I heard the Crusades are some
the Ottoman Empire was the Byzantine Empire, for example, was a Christian empire, right? The Byzantines were they Christian?
That sounds like something some cough syrup I take.
Well, the Byzantine, I think, were
Byzantine.
like, for example, the Christian Empire. I
That
could be exposing
sounds
myself.
right, but I don't know
Ottoman
enough.
is like
Ottoman
Turkish?
was the Muslim empire. Yeah.
The thing at the end
But
of the
turn
year,
it to
furniture, right?
Didn't it turn like into Turkey, like the Ottoman?
Yeah, the Ottoman Empire was in Turkey, like around that
Categorized
part
by
of the world.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ottoman, the furniture.
Yeah. What am I trying to get with?
Lazy
I'm
bum.
just telling you what I like.
History you're
You
into.
just
like
like
what I like.
history.
The last thing I'll mention, and we can end on this, although I'm sure it'll take a little bit.
Do you like the Soviet Union, Matthew?
Speaking of the Soviet Union,
That's it.
specifically World War II, that is my shit. But I will broaden it a little to like 20th century Canada and America, like from 1900 all the way up to 2000. That 100 years is like my go-to shit.
What do you know about the Vietnam War?
I like some of like
Ignored it.
Canada's founding or like the
Knows
American
nothing.
Revolution or like the American Civil War. Like I like that stuff too, but specifically that 100 years, Vietnam is so interesting just in like what it was and like all the shit that went down there and how that
So
was
America
like,
wrong to get involved?
oh fucking for sure. But like how that was
Can you explain
like
to me why?
it was just a war that had nothing to do with them. That they didn't need to get involved in like
Well, what kind of war were they getting
whatsoever.
involved in between Vietnam and who? Or is it within
Wasn't
It
Vietnam?
was
between
within
North
Vietnam.
and
Like
South?
Vietnam was having like a civil war basically, and it was the more
Wasn't it like a- wasn't-
communist.
Yeah,
North.
wasn't it like a North-South Korea?
Yeah,
kind
it was
of
the
thing?
more like communist side, and then a more like democratic
So they
side
were
or
wrong
whatever.
to
And the
fight for
U.S.
democracy?
basically went in and was like, "Hey,
They were fighting the dictator side?
they were fighting against the communist side because
Oh, okay.
America in the '60s and '50s and all that shit was all like the Red
Anti-communist.
Scare and the Cold War and all like fuck Russia and all this shit. So it's like, oh, we're gonna go wave our dick around in
That stuff
Vietnam
is really cool
for
to
some
me.
reason.
The Cold War.
so
The
why?
Cold War is
So
fascinating.
why are
too.
they in the wrong for getting involved in that?
Because it had nothing to do with them, and then they went and stuck their nose in another country's business and just went and committed a bunch of
So
war
no one
crimes
asked
and
them
shit.
for help.
Not to my knowledge.
And what if they did? Then would you say that they're not in the wrong for going?
They definitely didn't, because why would Vietnam have been like, America? Nobody else. Just America
land of
come
the free,
help
baby.
us.
The superpower of the world.
The whole thing was a fucking shit show, and then the 60s, again, to why I love this century, like, of Canadian American history, the way, like, you see shit shift in the 60s, where, like, in the 50s, it's very, like, the nuclear family, and, like, World War II is over, and, the fucking baby boomers are born, and, like, all this shit. And then by the time you get to the 60s, and it's, like, rock and roll, and everybody's doing fucking acid, and it's, like,
Let's fucking go.
that's, like, the birth of,
70s
like,
disco, baby. Here we go.
counterculture shit of people being like, hey, man, like, World War II, like, yeah, I get that, but, like, the fuck's going on in Vietnam, and, like, why are American troops gunning down civilians in, like, Vietnamese
Wasn't
villages and shit?
Wasn't
Like,
that in like Forrest Gump too? They kind of talk.
yeah, even
they do,
Forrest
like,
Gump, when there's, like, the
Vietnam-
protests, like,
yeah.
like, that was a huge thing of, like, these anti-Vietnam protests, and it's that Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song, I Love Ohio, which talks about, like, the protests that were happening at, like, an American university where, like, military police fired on, like, college kids in the fucking states that were protesting it. That's why the tin soldiers and Nixon's coming kind of thing of, like, it was all that, like, counterculture shit. So it's like that stuff fascinating as all hell. 70s fascinating. The 80s where music went to die, but, like, everything surrounding it
I love 80s
fascinating as shit. The 90s with, like, a maybe similar counterculture thing, but also, like, computers and technology and, like, all this shit becoming a thing is, like, all interesting as fuck.
Also, like 90s movies are way better than 80s movies.
There you go. And then the beginning of the century with, like, the 1910s, or, like, the 19 to the 1910s, I don't know, fucking whatever, Industrial Revolution and that kind of shit, I guess. Then you get to the 1910s, it's like, hey, World War I. Woo. And then you get to the 20s, and it's like the Roaring 20s, and nobody really knows how credit works. That's gonna fuck everybody in the ass really soon. And then, the Great Depression. But
I
then,
think the 20s must have been amazing.
right?
I would have loved to
The roaring, baby.
There you go.
skit scat.
I just think of that girl with the short black hair and the little like the little neck like the little crown.
fucking bonnets and the hairstyle and all that
she's wearing
shit.
like kind of like flowy like
The
white.
flappers, as they called
Yeah.
them. And then, the 30s with the Great Depression, all that stuff's interesting as hell. But then to me, it is obviously the very end of the 30s and the 40s with World War II. I have just endlessly fascinated by World War II. Thank you, video games, because it was playing Medal of Honor as a kid. and just being like, what the fuck is this? And then it's funny now how I've gone the opposite way, whereas I feel like kids would read like, you know, picture books and comic books and shit, and then get older and read like books. Whereas I went the opposite way, where I still remember being in like grade 3 at our fucking elementary school, and it'd be like, all right, it's reading time.
Dude, you remember the fucking book fair?
Right? The Scholastic Book Fair. Elementary school and
That's gonna be a
high
whole
school
topic.
topics. Those are coming one day. But like, it was the thing of like, all right, like it's free reading time or whatever. And like everybody pulls out like, not that I wasn't reading Captain Underpants because I liked that as a kid, but like, you know, everybody pulls out like Captain Underpants and like whatever fucking
Diary of a
Wimpy Kid,
Oh,
or
that
whatever
shit
book
is
they
so
pull out.
good.
And I'm like sitting there as like a 3rd grader with like my giant fucking like World War II encyclopedia. And like that's what I wanted to read. And then, you know, now I went the opposite way, whereas like now as an adult, I'm like, give me comic books and pictures because I can't stand to read fucking actual books. But yeah, World War II for me, that is my go-to shit with history. I just find that whole thing endlessly
Okay,
fascinating.
give us a little known fact about World War II.
little known.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's a tough one. I'm not, because I stopped as a kid. I could fucking tell you like everything about that war inside and out, and I've like lost some of it now. But I don't know. There's so much interesting shit. Like lately, maybe it's because of Oppenheimer and Godzilla -1, but like I've been thinking about the atomic shit, and that is so fascinating to me. Of like the entire Manhattan Project of like building the bomb, and the fact that like the only reason the Russians and the Soviets ever got the atomic bomb is because they had spies in the Manhattan Project who just stole a bunch of shit and sent it back to the Soviet Union of like, hey, we should probably be on this too, kind of thing. But that whole thing is fascinating about them building it, and then like obviously horrifying, but like using it against Japan, first in Hiroshima. I don't know, a known fact, for example, with like Nagasaki with the second bomb, that, man, would have been way worse if it weren't for the fact that when the bomb dropped, the wind blew it off course a little bit. So it kind of detonated in like a valley, which took a lot of the like brunt of it. So obviously it still fucked up Nagasaki, but it wasn't as bad as Hiroshima because Hiroshima just fucking hit that motherfucker.
Just thinking about that is crazy. Like,
Yeah, they
you're
nuked the whole-
just bombing a whole city to be like, come on, like stop doing this.
It's
Stop doing this
fascinating
to us.
too because it's
Submit
like
them.
now we look at, especially with what's
Why
going
did they?
on.
Why
in
did
the
they have?
world.
Why did they bomb them again?
Japan?
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor, baby.
Japan, well, the whole idea, and this is, again, it's so fascinating, but with like the idea, this was actually a thing in high school, because Michaela and Emily and I did history as like a summer school course, the World War II stuff, not the ancient shit that we did. But like we had like a debate assignment where we had to basically come up for an argument of like, should they have used the bomb or not? I've always been on the side of like, as horrifying as it is, I think it was the right way to go. Because the only reason the U.S. was even building a bomb in the first place was because of the fucking Nazis. Because like Einstein and all these Nazi guys, like German scientists, not Nazis, but like German scientists came over and were like, hey, like they're trying to cook something up over there, and if they fucking pull this off, like you guys are fucked. That's why I love in the new Wolfenstein games with the alternate history of them winning, where it's like you never see it, but like you hear about it in the first one where it's like, yeah, they nuked Manhattan, which is why like the U.S. surrendered in like this alternate history thing, is because like New York got fucking nuked and they were like, well, we're done, kind of thing. So it's like they were building it because of the Nazis, but then the Nazis, like the Soviets and the U.S. beat the Nazis, so it was like, okay, we aren't worried about the Nazis anymore, but we've still got Japan over here. I guess we'll use it with them. And people make the arguments of like, oh, they shouldn't have done it, this, that, and the other thing. But to me, it's like the argument of they should have just like detonated it in like Tokyo Bay or some shit and not hit the mainland and just been like, hey, this is what this is going to do, kind of thing. To me, that argument never tracked, because it's like, well, they did Hiroshima. And we're like, all right, are you guys done? And they're like, nope. And they're like, all right, I guess Nagasaki, kind of thing. So to me, it's like the like showing them what it could have done argument never made any sense. And the other argument was like, whatever the death toll was from the bombs was significantly less than what it would have been if they had done their plan. I forget what the name of the operation was, because D-Day was like Overlord, but I forget what it was. But like they had a plan of like, I guess we're just going to invade the Japanese mainland. And it's like the amount of fucking people that would have taken out, kind of thing, especially with the Japanese being as hardcore as they were, with like telling their soldiers of like, hey, don't surrender, like kill yourself. And there's a show, it's an older HBO show. I've never watched Band of Brothers, but it's the other one, The Pacific, which is just all about like the Pacific shit of World War II. And there's like a moment in that show where it's like some Japanese guy goes to surrender and the US guys walk up to him, they like start going like kind of restrain him or whatever, and he just pulls the pin on his grenade and just fucking holds it in front of him and takes himself and the other ones. Like that's the kind of shit, because Japan doesn't fuck around, never has, never will. That's the kind of shit, like they were literally telling like old ladies, like they were giving them like spears and basically being like, take out one American soldier if you can before they get you. And they're like going to kids and being like, hey, you're small, here's like a suicide vest, basically crawl under like a Sherman tank and fucking take your, like, this is the kind of shit that Japan was like preparing for. So to me it was always like, okay, you would have lost all these American people and like practically all of Japan if you had done it this other way, or again, as horrible as it is, 2 bombs, tens of thousands of people and you're done, compared to however many hundreds of thousands. And like the war ended in 45, that fucking thing would have gone to at least 46, maybe longer, kind of thing. So like, you know, you end the war in that sense.
So it's permissible to kill civilians in some scenarios?
No,
this
but
is a serious question.
No, but this is the thing too, where it's like nowadays, like I was saying, we look at like what's going on in the world and like killing civilians is such a like horrible thing, and it is, and it's not that it was like right to do in World War II, but it was a thing of like the Blitzkrieg, and when the Nazis went after London and Great Britain, of like, hey, we're just gonna fucking level your country, and so like that kind of like became the thing of like, all right, well, they just did that to us, so like, you know, the Allies had like air raids on like Berlin and like all these German cities of like just turning these German cities into fucking parking lots kind of thing. And with the Japanese thing, it was a similar thing of like,
Bro, war is so fucking crazy.
it's insane, this shit.
Destroying cities.
Right? Cities and like all the
Leveling
shit.
them.
And like, again, little
Imagine that
known
right
facts and what I'm interested in with the bombs
imagine
and
that
stuff
right
too is like the idea that like there's also like people argue geopolitical reasons for the US to use the bomb of like, well, we're working with the Russians, but we don't really like the Russians, so we'd like to kind of also scare the shit out of them. So there's an argument there that people have made of like the US using the bomb to basically be like, hey, by the way, Soviet Union, when this is all done and like now you and I are like the only kind of countries, like the superpowers in quotes, like just so you know, fuck around and find out kind of thing of like, this is what we've got in our back sleeve.
So with all that criteria put in place, it's permissible to kill civilians in that?
No. I don't think it's
you just
right.
supported their decision
I don't
to do
think
so.
it's right to kill civilians.
I think he's
Period.
saying it's sometimes it's necessary.
But I'm saying in that very specific situation of like nearing the end of World War II of like, do we invade this country and kill all their civilians? Or do we just do this and hopefully spare our people and not have to like fight for every inch of like Japanese land kind of thing to finally like get them out? In that specific instance,
it is permissible.
I think it was better to use the bomb than to invade the country. Sure. But I'm not saying generally like go kill civilians.
No, I'm not saying, I wasn't asking you to say generally. I'm just saying there are instances where it is
very specific,
where is the lesser of two
very
evils is what you're
drastic,
saying.
sure, where it's not that it's like the right option, but it's like, you know, swallow a shit sandwich or like an even bigger shit sandwich kind of thing. What was I gonna say?
Well,
yeah,
listen, I'll eat anything at this point.
But even with the bombs, it's interesting too, where like one of the targets originally was Kyoto, which was like the ancient Japanese capital before Tokyo, and there was some U.S. general who went there on his honeymoon before the war that like went to the top brass. I think it's even in Oppenheimer, that moment's referenced, if I remember correctly. Like went to the top brass and was like, you can't fucking bomb Kyoto. He's like, he's like, personally, I have attachment to it, which is such a weird thing, but he's also like, that's their ancient capital. He's like, if you destroy that, he's like, they will never surrender. He's like, that will be such a like grave offense. He's like, you have to pick a Hiroshima and Nagasaki, like one of these other cities. Like you cannot pick Kyoto kind of thing. Like it's too beautiful. It's too pristine. It's this ancient thing. Don't fucking do that. And then they didn't. and thus they went with other countries.
Cities.
Sorry. But yeah, so even with the bombs too, it's interesting where the U.S. was making kind of like a bomb a month, and like they had like a total bluff with Japan of like after the first 2 bombs, they only had one more like ready to go, but they were basically, I mean, there's the famous, it's not FDR because I think he had died at that point. Who the fuck was the second U.S. president during the war? Doesn't fucking matter. But like had that like famous quote of like
Eisenhower
was after that, but he's in there somewhere too. But like, well, I mean, he was a general during the war, but like
I think
he
Nixon was
had
after.
whoever the fuck it was, I forget who it was, had the, maybe it was Truman, had the like line of like, we're gonna rain down on you like fire from the sky like the world has never seen, and it was like a total fucking bluff of like they had a 3rd bomb ready to go, but if they had used that in Japan, it'd still been like, nah, fuck you. They would have had to be like, oops, can you guys wait a month while we build the next one, kind of thing. So even that was a bluff. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. World War II is so fascinating. There's so much crazy shit when you think about like, you know, D-Day and like
Vimy Ridge.
Vimy Ridge is
That was World War I?
World War I. But it's like you think of D-Day in and of itself, or like Market Garden was the operation where they went into the fucking Netherlands. You think about like all the shit that like started in Africa, because the Nazis got that fucking far. But when they like got
I didn't even know that.
Africa and then started pushing into Italy, and how like fucked up the shit, like a lot of the fighting was in Italy and all
I
this
didn't
shit.
even know the Nazis got to Africa.
Yeah, they had started getting into like northern Africa and shit kind of thing, but they didn't get too far before
didn't get to
the
Egypt?
Allies. They might have, I guess,
Damn.
maybe something like that, but they didn't really get too far into northern Africa before the Allies started like pushing them out, kind of thing. And then obviously you have, you know, the Soviets doing work on their end, kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Does anybody? Sorry, that was a lot. Does anybody else have anything they want to add for World War II?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I enjoyed hearing about it.
No.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Mark has to pee. Anyways, that's my topic.
All right, so summer's coming up.
It is.
Oh
Uh-huh.
yes.
The sun's gonna be out.
Yeah.
We're gonna be going out
Yep.
more.
Yeah.
We're gonna be a little more free.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know about this guy, but we're gonna be a little more free.
Mhm.
And we're gonna be frequenting locations in which we may encounter females.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so
I mean, you're talking about me and you. I mean, they're in a relationship.
they're in relationships, yeah. But so I guess this.
I mean, who knows what's gonna happen?
They can still definitely tap in. Oh wow, do you have? Oh, I thought you were saying who knows what's gonna happen, as in you're gonna get
No,
a
I
girl.
was saying for both of them.
They might
maybe
break
they'll
up
be in.
with- Wow, their respective girls will be very upset. To hear that.
Damn.
It's a joke. Sheesh.
So, so with that in mind,
Mhm.
You want to end your dry spell?
with that in mind, it sort of demands a conversation. It doesn't really demand it, but I'm just gonna say for dramatic purposes,
Mhm.
it demands a conversation of what is the best way to approach a girl,
Here we go.
and what is the best way to approach a girl, and when is it appropriate? Where is it appropriate? I need a game plan here. For
I'm
summer.
so glad we have a purely male perspective on this question.
I think as
Here we
long as
go.
she's not about to walk into the washroom or walking out of the washroom, you're good.
I feel like when it comes to this sort of shit, I feel like whatever's the most like I always say this, and you guys are like, what does that even mean? But like to me, it's like whatever is the most natural situation. That's what I think is the best, for my opinion. Like for example, like if you're hanging out in a group and you see this girl and you like make eye contact or whatever, and then you're hanging out in this big group or a bunch of people are there, maybe you're at a club or something, I don't know, whatever it is, and you see them multiple times, and maybe you're a group of people hang out with her group of people, and you somehow get to talking. Like to me, it doesn't. I would never want to just approach a girl just like I know nothing about her. I just saw her and I just walk up to her and start talking. To me, it's like that's gonna feel unnatural for me, and that's gonna come across for her likely.
Now, I don't want to speak for all women.
I thought Matty was about to do one of the.
I don't want to speak for all women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to right now, though.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Please.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
kidding. I'm not going to speak for all women.
I was gonna say though, but I feel like you don't have that same hang up that Mark has.
I don't have that same hang up though.
Because I've seen you at like a party or whatever, like just walk,
That's
just
different.
pick
though.
a girl and be like, "Hey, what's up?" and just start chatting.
That's
her up.
different because I wouldn't mind doing that because it's the group people hanging out. I'm talking about we're not even hanging out with these people. They're just like random people from.
Sure, but
know
even
what I'm
at a
saying?
bar, Patrick, I feel like would go up and just like try to start.
I know
real
Patrick
Here's
would
the
do that thing. One time at school, Patrick saw a girl in the library as we were walking out of the third floor. We get into my car.
God.
We're literally
Story.
in Guelph. We were literally driving away. We're about to go home. He goes, stop the car. And I'm like, why? He goes, I need to go back to the library and talk to that girl. And so I pull over and he sprints to the library. He says he sits down, he talks to her a bit, gets her number, and then sprints back to the car.
Whatever happened with
And
that?
how'd that go?
Oh, it was that girl.
At the
It was
party,
that
Halloween.
girl at the Halloween party.
Ah,
was that same girl.
I don't know.
That we just bumped into.
Remember
her.
we went into that really
Oh.
crowded house where
Yeah,
we did
that
jack shit nothing?
unbelievably
Yeah,
crowded.
but why did you? What happened? You stopped talking? Why?
She didn't want to bank him.
Well, hold on. It didn't go anywhere, but I'm just saying we happened to bump into her. That
But
was the
why?
girl.
But she gave you her number, so she was interested in the
She
audition.
gave you her Instagram.
She gave me her Instagram initially, and then I got her number.
Okay. And then what happened? The conversation went flat.
What was it? Like she just like never made time, or like she was always flopping or something like that.
It's kind of hard to remember right now, but so I got her Instagram, then I got her phone number, and then we talked a little bit, and then I tried to set up a thing in Guelph because she lives in Guelph, but she bailed on it, kind of thing. So I guess she wasn't into me. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm calling this
She's a
topic.
bitch.
I'm calling this topic "Summer Love." Go on.
Summer love. That's pretty poetic.
So what
But
you're
here-
getting at
hold
is
on,
just
hold
the
on.
idea of going. And
I didn't
talking
get
women.
to say what I wanted to.
Oh please, yes.
Fucking
Get to the point. Get to the point.
So, just on Mark's point, Mark's
Sure.
point,
Sure.
I'm not going to speak for all women,
Okay.
but Mark has brought this up multiple times, and so it has made me curious. And I've asked a lot of girls who are in my life as to how they feel about a guy approaching them, and a lot of them they're not weirded out by it, and they're like, they're okay with it.
They're saying that, but it depends on the situation. Like if
No, they're saying that, but it depends on the situation. But you writ large don't like doing that. You want it to be natural.
That doesn't. But I'm saying I would feel unnatural about it, and because I would feel weird about it,
Yeah.
I would feel like I would come across as less confident, and I would maybe weird energy would emanate from me because I feel weird about it, and then they would feel weird about it. That
I
doesn't.
know.
That's not to say that I'm saying that for all guys and girls hate when guys approach. I'm not saying that.
But
I'm
my
just saying-
suspicion was that you don't like it is because you think it's weird. And the point I'm trying to make is,
that's my perception is that it feels unnatural, and so I don't want to do it.
but
It
if the
seems too
girl
artificial.
doesn't think it's weird, then
Well, it doesn't matter what she thinks because how I perceive things is going to change how my kind of energy is.
and this is
you
the
know?
critical point here. I thought you perceived it was weird because you thought they were like you. I thought you thought that they were. I'm saying they too much. I thought that you were under the
It's more a Mark
assumption.
hang up than it is like the girl hang
I
up.
thought you were under the assumption that they were weirded out by it.
I'm sure a lot of them are weirded out if some random guy starts walking up to them and then they're kind of like, unless they're like, I mean, honestly, it depends on the person and how they do it and what
Yeah.
they say and what they look like and there's a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm sure there's a lot of girls who are just like, who's this creep coming up to talk to me? I don't want to talk to this random stranger who kind of looks weird. You know, I'm sure that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it happens sometimes too. If some guy walks up and he's like, "Oh, he's cute. Like, I hope he talks to me." Whatever. Maybe.
Yeah.
I just feel like for me, because I feel weird doing it, it's gonna not be a successful outing.
I see.
I feel like I'd much rather be in a situation where we're just hanging out in a big group and I am in close proximity with somebody and strike up a conversation with them, as opposed to I single out someone from across the room. I walk up to them and I just start randomly talking to them without having any connection or any reason to talk to them.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying the natural hanging out thing makes the most sense to me, because the reason that I'm talking to them is because we're all hanging out and talking.
Yeah.
You know?
So I want to get better at the whole like starting conversations with people that I don't know.
Have you met Patrick?
That would be amazing if someone would play Have You Met Patrick with me. That would be
think that'd be
easier
deeply
icebreaker.
awkward.
Honestly, I feel like you are pretty good at it. We were at Guelph again not too long ago. There's
Yeah.
just some girl sitting in the cafeteria minding her business, eating her sandwich. You just sit down.
This
You
is
just
true.
started talking.
And I did that because of what I'm saying right now is I want to get better at it. So like in that scenario, I saw her. I was like, oh, she's pretty. I didn't mean to throw the word kind of. She's pretty. And I was like, just screw it, bro. Just go talk to her. And then I just talked to her, got her Instagram.
But so
We didn't go anywhere, but like,
not to go all therapist here,
Yeah.
but to a deeper issue. So speaking to Summer Love, is Patrick finally looking for love? What's happening?
I mean, finally, I thought he was just kind of open.
I feel like
Patrick's
he's
open to
been
whatever.
open for a long time, but I don't think he's like pursued in a hot minute.
What do you mean pursued?
Like actively gone out and like talked to girls or like been on any sort of dating apps or like
Oh, I see.
done any like active step towards
Binkin'.
getting with a girl, or even if you've like had a girl at your school or like some class or whatever that's like been maybe interested in you. Now I'm not saying you not being interested back isn't you pursuing anything, but like a girl you might also be interested in being interested in you, and you're kind of just like whatever about it.
Wait, say that last part again.
If there's like a girl that's interested in you that you might also be interested in, but you don't necessarily like follow through on it, kind of thing.
Yeah, what about that?
I'm saying this speaks to your point that you haven't like actively been, you
I
haven't
wanna-
been on the hunt.
I want to kind of address with the topic that you were saying
Go for
in
it.
terms of like, I feel like for me, what I feel like comes across the best, and it's just generally a good way to approach people in general, not just like people that you're attracted to, like making friends and all this sort of stuff. I feel like I want to exude this sort of like coolness that comes from not really caring that much. Like that sort of like desperation and like needing connection and wanting stuff. Like a lot of people are turned off by that, even if they would like you otherwise. That kind of like, I need this, or I want, you know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of girls probably, again speaking for them.
But do you think like going up to somebody at a bar, for example, is that?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying in general. Like I feel like on this topic of approaching girls and talking to girls, that energy of being kind of like, I'm good either way if this doesn't work out or not. Like that's what you need, is that sort of like that suaveness of like, oh, I'm confident in myself, and like, you know, whatever. I don't like, ultimately it doesn't matter to me, but you know, if it means anything, I think you're attractive or whatever, like that sort of thing.
Call me cringe, but this is sort of how I have started, even with Malcolm's most recent example of like, if I want to talk to someone, how I go about it. I literally just think of like, I think of something that's like, not to like catch them off guard, but that's something that's been on my mind. And then I just find a way of like, oh, hey, how's it going? Hey, I wanted to get your opinion on this, or like, not in those words exactly, but that's how I do it, of like, just get into a conversation.
That's a good conversation.
That's your in.
I try
That's
to do
my in.
I haven't really tried to apply that into talking to a new girl that I'm attracted to, but I do that all the time, just like at school, just for like with friends and shit. I'll be like, oh, like, do you guys think this is underrated or overrated? I was talking to my friend about it or whatever. So I guess that would be a good way to like start conversation.
So if it's like someone who's like, I'm like trying to like start something with, like, I would just be like, hey, I don't mean to bug you, is like the first thing I would say.
I don't like that.
Well, that's just how I.
Because then in their mind they're like, oh, he's like the word bug, like, oh, he's bugging me. Oh, I guess he's bugging me. Like just don't even apologize. Why are you apologizing? Just like talk.
That's just that's to your point of natural. That's to me how I feel like I can naturally insert myself of like, hey, you're doing something, I don't mean to bug you, and then I go in of like, you know, I've been thinking about recently, blah blah blah, just you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But yeah, how do you guys think of it? Is that cringe, or
The question?
the whole
the question's weird. I think I would cut the, again, like, oh, hey, sorry for bugging you, because it's like, I mean, it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
If it makes sense for you to apologize, if it's in a private, quiet area, then they were doing something. But if they're just hanging out, like, I don't think there's any need to apologize.
Patrick breaks into her house at night.
I mean, she's with her boyfriend. Maybe say, I don't mean to bug
he's going
you,
up to her bed, she's sleeping. Hey, I don't mean to bother you.
I don't mean to, sorry. I don't mean to
the
bother
most
you.
recent example was at a cafeteria, if I'm not mistaken. And this girl's on her laptop, I think. So that's where I'm
That makes
pulling
sense.
that.
and you shut it for her slowly.
And then I did this, and I was like, I don't mean to bug you.
No, you didn't.
and then you bugged her.
And then I bugged her. Listen.
She was like, I was in the middle of a job interview.
In the cafeteria at University of Guelph?
You had to do, man. But you didn't answer my question. So is
Oh,
Patrick on the market now? What's happening?
I wouldn't. It's kind of hard. Coming September, I may very well be in a different province, which is going to be a logistical issue that I would like to discuss with you boys with regards to this show eventually. But
Can't wait to not have Patrick on the show.
so I don't think I am actually like looking for a
Show's over.
like a relationship, but I definitely am looking to
Hit it and quit it.
not hit it and quit it. I'm definitely looking to
Just
else would
summer
it be?
loving, you know? Notebook style.
What I'm trying to say is what I'm saying is I want to get better at talking to people. That's what I want to get better at.
So you're not
It doesn't have to
interested-
lead to a date. It doesn't have to lead to anything.
But when you say
We're
you're
going to
looking
Saskatchewan.
Maybe it
talk-
does.
But when you say you're looking to get better at talking to people, do you mean like generally or
$1.50,
specifically women?
I'm talking about- I'm gonna be even more specific here. I want to get better at starting conversations with women I don't know.
Okay, so you're talking about a very specific narrow focus. That's just what I'm
Yes.
trying to get at.
What do you think you're gonna do that?
So you're just trying to like
Where would I do that?
I'm saying like where's the best place for you to work out?
I was gonna
Work
say
out.
you're just, that's the word
I'm
I was just
thinking-
gonna use. You're
yeah.
basically just trying to like work out and get better at to no specific end,
Yeah.
but just to work out like talking to women in quotes.
Yeah, so Mustafa's my boy, and he's an example of like, he's one of those people who is literally exudes confidence, and to your point, doesn't give a shit what happens with anyone he encounters. Like who like that's why he's able to go up and just like talk to people. And yeah, he just gets along in any group. He you can stick him with anybody.
Clearly not.
But if you're not
Well,
trying, maybe this is more of a thing for me that I'm confused by. But if
Okay.
you're not, if the end goal is not to like even go out with,
It's
any
not
of these
necessarily to do that.
he just wants to
Okay.
get
If it
good.
happens, I'm not
because
opposed.
my whole thing is like, and I've expressed this before on the show and just to you guys personally, is that I'm horrible, terrible, downright god awful at like that initial stage of talking to women that the goal was or there was an interest in like pursuing something. If you just stuck me in a scenario of like,
Can we talk about that?
if you guys did like a have you met Matt to me at a fucking bar to some pretty girl that I like was not interested in or whatever, no problem. I'll shoot the shit. Like I have no problem just talking and like being hopefully relatively
Before he was
like
single.
being like relatively like charming or like easy to talk to, like that's no problem. For me, what was always the hang up and what I could never do is if it was like, Matt, that girl across the bar, go up to her and like ask for her number. In a million fucking years, I'm not built that way. I don't got that dog in me. Couldn't do it. But if it was just like, hey Matt, this girl from across the bar, like shoot the shit with her and like ask her in the library what she's fucking working on. No problem. Like any day of the week I could do that. It's specifically the like relationship or like romantic angle that has always scared me off. So that's why I ask for you where it's like, if you're saying that you can just walk up to some of these girls and just talk to them, then like, is it but the goal's not the romantic thing, then it's like, what are you working at exactly kind of thing.
Conversational, like
conversational, like ability to start conversations and hold conversations
Maintain
with people
them,
I have nothing
Without
who I
the
know
end
nothing
goal
about.
of
just
I'm
generally,
trying to go out with you.
just generally, yeah.
Sure, it could
But it's
Generally-
not
go to
against
that.
that. It's
Generally,
not against
but then
that
being
goal,
able
but
to
it's
apply
not the
it to
goal.
that.
Can we talk
Okay.
about this for a second though?
Please.
This is crazy.
Here we go.
Why is this a phenomenon? Why is it that I can talk to girls who I have no interest in pursuing, and I just feel like I'm the Rizzler? But when it comes to a girl I
the
actually like, I can't
It's
like
for the- it's for
I
the
You're
freeze
getting
up.
your own head.
It's for the same exact reason that I was saying about trying to be like laxed or whatever and not care. Like when you're with someone, when you're talking to a girl who you have no interest in, you're naturally just gonna not give a shit whether she likes you or not.
Mm-hmm.
So her feeling like you don't necessarily care that much and that you're confident in yourself and you're not like desperate for anything might make her even more attracted to you versus like someone who like feels like you're trying to get at them
Yeah,
and you're like kind of like, you know, walking on eggshells around them. They're gonna be like, oh, like this guy's fucking like too much.
exactly. Like cut these names out right now, and if
Okay.
you don't cut them out,
Go ahead.
I will castrate you. Like I can talk to no problem.
Yeah, hey.
Exactly. It's like, what do you do today? Like,
But that's. but are you,
lose
like
a chromosome?
interested in her still?
there's two things. She's.
Yeah.
Sure.
You have to bleep that out. Actually,
Sure.
she's not of the same faith,
Sure.
and that's
that's all
But
you
what
need,
I'm
really.
just saying is like, for example, a couple girls that I asked out in college.
Let's go.
Before me asking them out, like when it was just us hanging out and friends and getting to know each other and all that, not a problem in the world. Even when I had like crushes on them, I was like not thrown off, blah, 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 anything. As soon as I tried asking them out, the fucking house of cards fell apart. But then after that, when I knew that nothing was going to happen and we were still just friends, totally fine again. It was purely just the like, I'm trying to ask
I
you out
see.
thing. So what I'm just saying in terms of with the person you just mentioned who you were interested in at
Yeah.
one point in time, maybe what I'm saying is like, do you still have that falling apart thing now?
the only reason I would still have that falling, and also it's not for me it was never a thing of, oh, I'm about to ask this person out I'm falling apart because I never got to that point with her.
Sure, more like
it was
generally.
more of like I could start random conversations with, and I could just talk about whatever random shit with her. But then it would be like, I'm having trouble trying to start conversation. I want it to be interesting. Like I'm getting in my head exactly like what you're saying.
That's
with
what
this
I'm
other
saying.
girl.
Where I just
And
feel
the
like
only
you get in your head about it.
Yeah, and the only reason it would be that way still is because like, yeah, I'm not pursuing her, but those feelings are still there.
Well, because
right?
that's the other thing I'm getting at too, where it's like, and that's what I'm saying, where it's like, to sit and talk to like a pretty girl or whatever has never been like a problem. It specifically for me, the hang up has always been
take it to
like,
the next level, baby.
trying to make that step of like,
Take it to the next
hey,
level.
you want to go out sometime, or can I get a number, or like anything like that was always
Want to
like,
come back to my place?
poor
I think-
Varsh. We have to get her back on the show at some point to talk about it. Want to come back to my place, because like not even asking her out, because I didn't really do that. Like we just had our first date, like I talked about.
Yeah,
the
no,
show.
you're a pussy boy.
And then because that was like the beginning of November, and then it was like early December where we had like hung out a bunch of times before that. But it was like early December where I finally just kind of told her, against Allie's better judgment, but like had told her like, hey, just so you know, like, and it wasn't like me asking her out, but I just told Varsh, I was like, just so you know, like, I'm into you kind of thing. Like, you know, I don't see us hanging out like we've been doing and like texting every fucking day as like me and my good pal Varsh kind of thing. Like, you know, there's feelings here kind of. And that was like, I have to talk to Varsh about it, but like she laughs because her and I were hanging out and I dropped her off at the Oakville GO station and we were just sitting in my car waiting for the train to come. And I wanted to like tell her and say it to her in that moment, but I just couldn't fucking get it out. And she even asked me at one point, she's like, is everything good? Like, you seem a little quiet, like a little, like something's bugging you or whatever. And I was like, nah, like I'm fine. You know, I'm probably just tired or whatever. And she got on the train and left. And I drove home, and the entire fucking drive home, I was like, you fucking idiot, you fucking idiot. Why didn't you say something to her? To the point that I went and parked over at the grocery store here and just sat in the parking lot and called her up. And I was just like, and she was still in the train at that point. I was like, hey, like, what's up? Blah, blah. She's like, oh, like, and she was like kind of thrown off. I was like, I'm just on the train or whatever. And we were on the phone for like probably 20 minutes. Still, that's how long it took before I finally got to the point of like, hey, I like you. Hope you like me back. And like that kind of shit. And then she
Quickly ends in her face.
no. And then she had mentioned to me in that phone conversation of like, is that why you were so fucking like weird in the car or whatever? It's like, yeah, I wanted to like tell you what I just told you over the phone, but I couldn't fucking like grow the nuts to say it kind of thing. What were we talking about? So that was a long-winded thing of basically just saying like, I get what you're saying to the point of like the romantic or like that taking the next step, but I don't think you necessarily have problems generally is what I'm saying, to give you some credit.
Thank you.
I was gonna say I feel like a part of it too is like if you're attracted to somebody, I think that's a big component.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously you get to know them and then your attraction shifts from there. Either it's gonna increase if you really like their personality and the way they look, or maybe it'll just go down if you hate their personality and their physical attractiveness now means less. But I think if you don't really know somebody and you're getting to know them and they're like really attractive to you and you're like, man, like this person is beautiful, I feel like then you might have that sort of like hard time. It would be like you're talking to, again, we can cut this out. It's like you're talking to Karen with a C. You don't have that like, oh, I'm super attracted to her, so you don't feel that pressure to like perform in a way, in a weird way.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, this is a potential mate I'm attracted to.
Yeah.
I feel nervous because I don't want to let go. I don't want to lose this opportunity with this really attractive person type thing.
Yeah, true.
You know, I think that's a part of it.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Mr. Malcolm has had very little to say on any of what we've talked.
What, the
about.
Rizzler?
Do you have any thoughts come to mind?
And your mic is pointed up there. I don't know how that happens.
What? Yeah. See, somebody like Malcolm fascinates me because thank God I'm not in my single days anymore and I don't have to worry about any of this shit. But it's like Malcolm always, when I was at the point in my life where I was like trying to talk to girls or like ask people out or this, that, and the other thing, Malcolm was always the fascinating case to me of like, boy, this guy just fucking gets away with murder sometimes. Like, he just fucking can talk to all these girls and they're all like into him and all this shit and blah blah blah. It just felt like it came as somebody who it never came naturally to. It always felt like it came naturally to you.
Yeah.
Where do I go with this?
Anything to say? You can say yes,
You-
no. You can say it didn't come naturally.
Okay,
you
let's
can
see.
say it did.
I want to kind of test our theory that we've developed. Like, do you feel like, for you, were you ever like, trying really hard to get somebody, or like, kind of desperate? Not desperate, but like, you cared and you wanted someone to like you, and you kind of like when you talk to a girl, you're trying really hard, or do you feel like you didn't really care where it went and it just kind of happened many times? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like if I go out with a girl, there's definitely interest there. I mean, I'm not gonna push for like some relationship. Like, it's not like I just want to go out with you, get to know you.
But I'm saying you haven't even gone on the date yet. For example, you're just starting to talk to them, like them vibing with you and shit like that. Do you feel like that's a result of you putting in the effort to like talk to them and kind of like be like you're putting in effort, or is it, do they like you because
I think it's just me. I think it's just me being my natural self. Just like
you're not trying to put on anything?
no, just hanging.
So
in there.
you think like the natural kind of like being yourself, not really caring.
Yeah.
thing.
I think so. I think girls like that.
I think authenticity is a big thing.
But were you like the nervous type at all? Like, for example, let me paint a hypothetical. If you were like hanging out at school one day in your single days and some fucking girl like sat down near you at like a table or something, and you two just randomly started talking about whatever. Let's say you chat for an hour, and at the end of it, you're like, oh, this girl's like pretty, she's cool or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'd like to ask her, see if she wants to grab a bite or like a cup of coffee or go see a movie sometimes. Like, you never struck me as like that would be for me what it was of like fucking sweating and like my heart pounding in my chest of like, oh God, I have to ask this girl if she wants to like, get a coffee sometimes. Like, what I'm saying is you never gave me the sense that like threw you off. For you, it was more of like a, hey, anyways, I gotta go to class now, but like, hey, if you want to grab a coffee or something sometime, let me know. Like, it always just seemed more like,
If I were in that kind of situation, I don't think I'd overthink it that much. Like, if I was talking to this person, I feel like things would go well. I'd just be like, hey, like, can I get your number and we can get a coffee sometime after class.
this is me. I'm too in my head. I'm too
But you
scared.
just said it though. I feel like the way you just said it would work.
But that's the thing is, even that, like, I don't think I could ever get out. Like, I don't think I could get out the like, hey. I always struggle.
I think
with
that's your
trying
I think
to
that's your
get
mistake
out.
right there. The,
Hey. No, but like, I always struggled with the idea of getting out. Like, I'm interested in you in some respect.
Sure.
So even to be like, hey, you want to go grab a coffee sometime? To me, that like putting myself out there of like making it clear in no uncertain terms. Hey, I'm interested in you.
yeah.
Let's grab coffee sometimes. That.
Would you say you're
To
afraid of
me-
rejection?
I absolutely am personally.
I don't know, because the handful of times that I was rejected, it never was like, I was never really like crying or like upset or
But
like
it's your
that.
anticipation of
Hopefully,
it.
you wouldn't be crying if you were
But
rejected.
no, but you're but I think what he's saying is like you're not scared of the aftermath. I guess you're scared of like it's like the potential of rejection.
Like,
It's
scared
in
of
the
that.
moment,
You're scared
it
of that
feels
like
bad.
walk away moments of like, oh.
In the moment, Matthew, it feels
In
bad.
the, like, sure, in the moment it like
so
sucks.
that's what you're afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of.
or embarrassment.
That's what everyone
It's
is
sort
afraid
of, it's, I think it, for me, it was more of like an embarrassment. I also think it was more of like a, because the handful of girls that I'm thinking of, I was friends with beforehand. So there was also a part of me that's like, no, what? No, I never asked her out.
Wait, I thought... Didn't he?
No, we just talked about
We
this
did.
recently.
We did, and it was us three against you saying that you were into her. Wasn't that what
Okay,
it was?
no, but that's not what it was. But it also was never that I
Shit my
asked
pants.
her out.
No, I'm not saying... Okay, sorry.
You just said that.
My bad. So sorry.
More edit points. No, but so for me, it was just like with a couple girls in college, for example, it was a thing of like, this girl and I are friends. And it was more so the thing of like, I don't want to, because you're my friend, I don't want to like weird you out or make you uncomfortable, or like, to me, it was always like, I didn't think that they ever thought I was going to do it. So there was a part of me that's like, I feel weird, like I'm putting you in a position or like
No, you don't want to ruin the friendship.
catching you off guard. And that's the other thing of like, we are friends, so I don't want it to be like I do this and ask you out, and then like, you walk by me in the hall or like won't sit next to me in class anymore.
Those are pretty beta thoughts.
Dude, honestly, I'm not.
I don't want you to walk by me in the hall and remember me.
I put girls in their places when they. No, I was gonna say I feel like.
No washroom.
Sure,
I feel like gotta piss this episode.
I feel like a large theme here is like whatever kind of energy or whatever you put out there, you're gonna get back. I feel like if you approach, again, I'm not a fucking expert. I'm not great at this either, but I feel like if you approach someone with like I don't know, they're gonna be like, get away, like you know what I'm saying? Like,
anyways, what was I saying? So yeah, I don't know. To me, it's purely just the like. It's been that romantic or like I'm interested step that has always thrown me off, which I can't even ask Malcolm now because he's pissing his brains out. But like that's the thing where I felt like it always came easier to Malcolm. I also think part of that's because Malcolm is arguably the best looking out of the four of us.
There's no argument about it.
So I think that he's also had the advantage of like women gravitating to him
because of his looks
more than the three of us. But also it's not like that we haven't had that happen, but it's just I feel like Malcolm's definitely out of the four of us had more like girls come up to him
strictly based on appearance,
than like
any
of
us. I've had
us.
0 girls come up to me interested. So yeah,
come up and like walk up out of nowhere.
But I'm even saying like at school, like a girl in your class like
shows interest
in you. Like we've had that between the three of us, but Malcolm's more in the like.
Consistent.
Put it this way: if the four of us were sitting at a bar or whatever, like they're coming up to Malcolm, they're not coming up to us.
This is true. The one thing that did gas me up in uni was in my first year, and I've told you guys the story before of there was the confessions page.
Sure,
you guys remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You guys don't even believe it.
I don't remember this story.
He doesn't. He doesn't believe it.
I don't even remember. I remember vaguely what you're.
There was to remind me of this.
The confessions page.
There's just an Instagram page where they just put
where people just like DM like a confession and the person posts it.
Sharon had like a similar thing.
And one of them was when I was in psychology, Psych 100. This girl on the confessions page posted a thing of like, oh, does anyone know like the soccer player who always comes in with food during psych class? Like he's kind of cute.
Sounds
and
like
on
you.
God. And she said sits at the front. That was me, bro. There was no other person sitting at the front.
Do you see what
and
she
I was gassed.
Do you see what she
I didn't know what she looked like. I never ended up knowing who this person was.
I was going to say, I feel like, why didn't you just like respond to that? Be like, yeah, that's me.
Well, Riyad Mustafa tagged me in that post.
Great.
So.
And?
They kind of just ended at that.
But like she never reached out to you personally or anything like that?
Honestly, maybe she did.
I can't believe you didn't follow that up. Are you kidding me? If I was in first year at college walking around like fucking in my position of like single
I don't
not talking to anyone.
Like a dirty scumbag man.
But blind dates.
But there were a lot of dogs.
Jesus. That was the word you picked?
Cut it.
Cut it.
Great. Anyways, now that Malcolm's back, we can continue breaking him over the
Come on,
polls.
bro. He always does this thing where he acts better than me, bro. As if he hasn't said a phrase like that or done or said something or done something like that. Come on, bro.
Let's class it up a bit.
Yeah, Patrick, come on. What are you doing here, dude? But anyways, yeah, I was just saying, Malcolm, where you were gone. I feel like you've had, and as you were saying, you've never struck me as the nervous type with
he's
the
had his
ladies.
pick of the litter.
And also, like, and we were saying too, part of it, I think, what helps in your case is that you're like the best looking out of the four of us. So you've had the most like.
I love how he just takes it.
Them coming to you and not like you going to them, so to speak. You know.
Yeah, but I'm actually curious to know this. What percentage of the time is it you going to them versus them coming to you? Ballpark it.
But see, the fact that he doesn't even know is what makes
that's crazy because it's close.
No, but I'm saying the fact that he doesn't know speaks to why, in addition to him being good looking, why he has success is because I feel like he doesn't really give a shit about the details and who does what, and he's just whatever.
I was more so thinking like he had to think about it, so it's happened multiple times where a girl's
that too. But I'm saying like in terms of the success rate.
Yeah. So you got a ballpark or no?
Could it be 50-50?
Put your foot down.
I think you're
50-50. It could be around there. 50% of the time they approach you. 50%. It's a coin toss for you.
Mark, turn Malcolm's mic on.
Oh shit.
50-50. Malcolm, I'm gonna just speak for myself. For me, it's 100% to 0.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna say like 90-10. There's been like a couple of times where a girl might be like, oh, like what's like in my class, be like, oh hey, what's up, like spark up a conversation or something, or like reach out in some way, like electronically. I feel like I sound like an old man.
There's just been a lot of times where like a girl is like interested, and I just
put your foot down.
Sorry.
I thought you were saying he put his foot down in the story.
There's been a lot of times where girls are interested, and I just could care less. Like
they want him even more after that. That's what I'm telling you. I swear to God, it's like the fact that he doesn't want me right away and he's not desperate. It's like, God, I want him now even more. What I was gonna say is I feel like it's kind of interesting when you think of like the double standard there. Like if a guy just like follows a girl down like an alleyway, like from out of class, versus if a girl does it, it's like, oh, she's interested in talking to him. If a guy does it, it's like, call the police now.
We're wired so differently.
And I don't think that's an unfair. I don't think that's an unfair thing because of many histories.
Patrick, I will say, unless there's anything else you have, well, I'll let you close it.
Good
out.
luck.
But I will say to you, yes, good luck, best wishes. I hope it goes well. And honestly, I'll just say it. I'd like to see you winning out there.
We'll try to help you win during the summer. A little bit
here's
of
the
have you
thing.
met.
You are a very good person.
Marco passed mine on.
I'm a good person.
You're a very good person.
You think I'm a good person?
You are a smart young man. You're a fun and interesting young man. And
Oh my goodness.
I think
I've never been. Sorry, I don't mean to cut this because I love what's happening.
Because
here.
I'm being real here.
I love what's happening here.
Because I love what's going on here. He doesn't say it like that, but I love what's going on. So
Yeah.
I am the subject of a lot of battering. So this
Which
is,
we talked about
this
last
is-
week. Didn't we talk about this last
Did
week?
we?
The idea that like
On the pod?
You know what we should do?
with Mark's thing about like the
That's
shit
right.
talking.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
I want
like-
to end. How about we end this topic with everybody complimenting the other person,
Sure.
Wow.
just to see what we'd say.
Okay.
I think, but I'm being serious here for a second. I think you are like, you're a good dude. You're a very smart dude and well-rounded and all this shit. And, you're a handsome feller. And you've had similar, not quite to the level because none of us will be Malcolm, but you've had like similar-ish experience with like, let's just say you've had pretty women in your orbit from time to time. And
From time to time.
In the orbit.
and so I think that it's like more than possible and you're more than capable of like, landing a very nice person in return and a very nice woman for you. But I just feel like you haven't struck gold yet. And I find that a little frustrating from the outside because there's a part of me that's like, come on, ladies, look at him. So I, with regards to your summer plans here or whatever, maybe not the goal is not to get a date or, get your dick wet or start a relationship or anything like that.
Bro.
But you see how I sandwiched that in between the two nice things?
Get your dick wet.
But I hope, it works out in your favor and you meet a nice, young, lovely lady or older. She could be like 30.
Cougar
and
baby.
you'll be 24 or whatever. Maybe that works.
Not the preferable scenario.
Not the preferable scenario, but maybe she's loaded and it's great.
Yeah. Okay, I can combine that.
So, and then you just get to sit around playing video games all day. So, and watching How I Met Your Mother again. So,
Great.
So
He's saying it's
I,
fucking like in his hoodie thing, the One Piece thing.
Yeah.
so I
Nudie or
just,
whatever
I'm rooting for you.
Thanks, man.
I'm rooting for all my boys, even though, Malcolm's taken, I'm taken, and Mark's out there playing the field too. I'm rooting for all my boys. I hope it all goes well. I hope everybody's, getting dates, getting their dick wet, and finding relationships.
Okay, so should we everyone compliment somebody?
We don't have to. If you guys want to, we can.
Let's do it. Okay, so hold on. How are we gonna do this? So I'm not gonna compliment everybody. I'm just gonna compliment one person.
I don't know.
How do you want? Well, you suggested it, right? So how
It's
do you want,
12:20. Let's go.
Okay, how do you want to do this?
I feel like just to prevent overlap, I guess one person.
Well,
Okay.
if I will just go real quick, I feel like my compliments for the three of you are all basically what I just said to Fahim. Not to take a cop-out answer
Cop
or
out.
sound redundant.
Cop out. I'm gonna cut you off right there. I don't
or
even want.
sound
I
redundant.
don't want to hear it. I want to feel special. I don't even want to hear it. I want to feel special.
Okay,
That was just
fine.
for me.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and I can compliment any one of you. I'm gonna compliment.
With you, I was
It's pretty
referring
late,
more
huh?
to like the dating thing and the
Okay.
idea of like I find it.
Still
I
talking.
feel frustrated for
Still
you
talking.
with the like. I take all the compliments back about Malcolm. No, but that was more out in the sense of like I feel frustrated for you in the like dating sense because of X, Y, and Z. Taking out the dating thing and just saying purely X, Y, and Z, I would relate to all three of you. Do go on.
Okay. Yeah. Malcolm has nice calves.
You're not wrong. Some great yams.
Got some nice,
Nice
calves.
cat.
Some great yams on him.
Your turn, Malcolm.
That's it. Okay.
You said.
I thought
Did
we
I
were. I
misunderstand
thought.
the assignment?
I mean, my what I was thinking was like somewhat of a similar to Matty of kind of like an overall opinion about somebody and complimenting them about who they are.
There's a lot of thinking.
Oh.
Just like how Matty did with you.
Oh, I was a little superficial.
That's fine.
guess.
I mean, that's what I was thinking initially, but I mean, I guess that works
I'm
too.
gonna stick with the calves.
Okay.
Go ahead, Malcolm.
Let me see here. I'm kidding.
It's just like not a nice word to say. What if he sat and thought about it and was like,
You got up and left.
I think I hate you guys. And it was just like, that was it. We never heard from Malcolm again.
Mark is very motivated to improve in the gym, be his best self, stay away from junk food,
Even
and to
though I
get
want to
to,
eat McDonald's after this.
and to get to his career in life. Even though we're gonna have McDonald's right now.
That's right.
Okay.
This is true.
I think Matthew's the only one that hasn't been complimented, and Mark, you're the only one that hasn't complimented.
Sure.
And the
What can I say about Matty here?
Please.
It's a little difficult, but you can.
I mean, I'm trying to hone in on a kind of category in a way. Like
Okay.
like I could say, oh, like physical, or I could say personality, or I could, you
Mhm.
know. I think that to me, when I think about Matty, the thing that stands out the most is his kind of like passion for things and like enthusiasm for stuff. I think, I mean, you know, talking about like being a history nerd and being a video game nerd and like all these things that he's really into. It's like oftentimes it's very contagious and it's fun to talk to him about shit that he likes. So I think that if I was gonna just think about one thing that just comes out to me is like his kind of passion for life that is like contagious that I like about Matty.
Oh.
Okay. Everyone said something personality, and I was the only one.
You said calves.
Malcolm's
Malcolm's
fucking
I'm going to
yams.
change my. I'm going to change my compliment for you. So my compliment for you is now going to change to.
He's nice. All right, let's go.
You're like a really nice. You're like a really nice. No, okay. I think Malcolm is. I think Malcolm's extremely loyal. And behind, I have a perception of him that behind closed doors, he has the backs of his
boys.
boys.
Compadres.
His compadres.
Yeah, so
His mafiosos. That's a very good one.
yeah.
I will also just toss out again, if I might paint with a broad brush for all of you. This has turned into the circle jerk end of the episode.
We're just like yeah.
I also appreciate and love that I think all three of you are legitimately funny, and we have like similar senses of humor, which plays into it. But I mean purely from the sense of like whether it's like making jokes or doing dumb bits and things like that. I feel like all three of you share that commonality between you, which I love so much.
Yo,
because
Quiplash is so good.
because Quiplash is, you know,
Imagine Quiplash with any other friend group.
because Quiplash is career ending,
Couldn't
so
imagine.
like it keeps us laughing, it keeps us
Keeps our imaginations
happy and
going.
jovial. Yeah, it gives us that competitive edge of like, well, somebody said this, so how do I joke about this now? Like,
to me, I feel like when I think about that shit, I think about anytime we watch a movie that's like that we're not invested in, and it's like all of a sudden we're crying, laughing about someone all of a sudden starting to do some crazy shit on screen.
and even the movies we like,
yeah,
Top Gun.
sure.
I will never stop thinking about fucking Tom Cruise having sex with Take My Breath Away. That lives in my head rent free. So anytime I see that movie or think about that movie, I just picture Tom Cruise making that awful sound while he's getting his dick wet. Anyways,
God. All right.
are you satisfied, Patrick?
Not
Are you-
not emotion.
I was going to ask, like, emotionally, physically, sexually. What are you referring to?
So let's
Definitely
start
not
sexually.
sexually.
How do you know?
Have you come?
Have you come? Like ever?
You ever come?
Or like today? Or like,
Have you ever come?
have you ever you come?
You ever come?
Just to answer your question real quick. No.
What if he said all of the above? What if he said all of the above? Like all time, yes. Recently, yes. Today, yes.
Say yes.
On this couch, yes.
Oh
Oh
man.
God.
Oh man, this is the one I sit on. Well, anything else around the horn before we get out of here, fellas?
Please hurry up.
Okay, that's it.
Not really.
I get the sense that everybody wants to be done, so let's do it. Hello, that was your episode. Like I said in the beginning, please like, share, subscribe. Check us out. We're everywhere. Keep watching the socials. Share them around.
Doja Cat, Doja Cat, Doja Cat.
Doja Cat, Doja Cat, Doja Cat. You know what it is, what it do, what it ain't, what it will be.
I want to show you off.
Mark wants to show you up. Please.
I used to be completely honest.
Is it more
Yo,
likely for us to get
I
Doja
haven't
Cat on this
made a Doja
podcast or
Cat
that Indian
clip.
guy that sings Doja Cat?
That guy.
I think it's more likely we get that guy.
I haven't made a Doja Cat clip in 2 weeks.
I guess let's just drop it then.
That's okay. She
So let's
knows.
just drop it.
Yeah,
Doja
just
Cat,
drop it.
she knows.
I mean, we can keep it in episodes. Like,
oh, it's
Sure.
in the episode.
She doesn't want-
So when she watches and get to the end of the 2-hour
Yeah,
episode,
yeah.
she hears. She's like waiting for the
When
shout
Doja Cat
out.
with a really free schedule is finished watching Wildly Adequate
Yeah.
podcast at night before going to bed.
She's sitting there waiting for the outro.
I'm just imagining
to
her
hear
laying
it.
on her stomach and her legs are. Her
Kicking
feet
her
are
feet in the
are
air.
you
I want to know what
telling
Patrick's
me?
gonna say.
Are you
Yeah.
telling me it's not at all possible that she's an individual who goes to sleep listening to podcasts, and that it's not possible whatsoever that in her queue Wildly Adequate comes out next? Are you telling me that's not even a little bit possible?
Let me pose this final question to you before we go.
Okay.
Because earlier when I brought up the idea that somebody else on Earth right now is wearing the same sweater, shirt, pants, socks, and underwear as Mark right now, what do you think is more likely? The fact that there's somebody else out there with the exact same head-to-toe outfit as Mark, or that Doja Cat has heard our podcast?
The first one.
Same outfit. Same outfit. Same
The
outfit.
former.
Same outfit.
1,000%
It's more likely.
Not even close.
is-
That's more likely
It is.
than her hearing
It is more likely that someone's wearing the exact same brands, socks, underwear,
I got
and has the exact same skin tone as Mark.
Calvin
All right,
Klein.
what are we talking about
Calvin
now?
Klein underwear.
Has,
I got Calvin
exactly.
Klein jeans. I got Calvin Klein sweater.
All right.
I'm repping the Calvin.
How
and then
likely is that now?
I got Adidas socks.
That's the point. It's more likely that they have the
that
exact
all
same
those
outfit.
stars align.
The
then
skin
Doja
color is
Cat.
the
I have a
I'm
same.
talking about the skin color.
Wait. I have a feeling like if I had to guess, like very, very few people have this exact Calvin Klein sweater with these exact Calvin Klein jeans in this cut,
I mean, they sell them
and
all
the
the
Calvin
time.
Klein exact Calvin Klein underwear and those Adidas socks. Like maybe like a handful in the world.
And that underscores the whole point of like
Sure.
Doja Cat's never
Doja Cat's not listening.
ever gonna
one.
hear
She's
it.
never gonna listen.
Yeah.
She's never gonna know I exist.
So anyways, Doja Cat, what's up? Thank you for watching. This has been your episode.
Please change our lives.
Goodbye.